Chapter 1506. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and said, "No matter what, we have to find them. No, we have to find the Golden Wolf King." The four beasts looked at each other. Crocodile Emperor looked at the three beasts and said, "Let's split up and look for them. Be careful." "Okay." The three beasts nodded. Whoosh! The four beasts immediately turned into a stream of light and disappeared from Qin Feiyang's sight. Qin Feiyang stood at the top of the mountain, paying attention to the four beasts through the slave seal. Time passed little by little. 2 hours later, the four beasts returned. "We've searched the area within a radius of 10,000 miles, but we didn't find any trace of the ghost wolf. Boss, it's impossible to find it if we continue to search aimlessly. We have to think of a way." The four beasts looked at Qin Feiyang and said. Qin Feiyang frowned and sighed. If only the white-eyed wolf was here. It could track the Golden Wolf King's scent. Track the scent? The four beasts looked at each other. Suddenly, Scorpion Emperor's eyes lit up. He leaned close to Qin Feiyang's ear and whispered, "Boss, I have an idea." "What idea?" Qin Feiyang asked. Scorpion Emperor whispered a few words in Qin Feiyang's ear. Hearing this, Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. Scorpion Emperor said, "This is the only way now." Qin Feiyang gritted his teeth and nodded. "Okay, wait for me here. I'll go talk to Lu Xingqian." After saying that, he turned and jumped down the mountain. He used the phantom steps and went back the way he came. After a while, he rushed back to the valley. But Lu Xingqian had already disappeared. But Qin Feiyang knew that he definitely didn't leave. "Lu Xingqian!" Qin Feiyang shouted. His shout reverberated in the valley, lingering in the air. Whoosh! The next moment, Lu Xingqian appeared from the spatial divine object and said with a smile, "Brother Qin's efficiency is indeed extraordinary." Qin Feiyang said, "I haven't caught the Golden Wolf King yet." Ugh! Lu Xingqian was stunned. When he came back to his senses, he asked suspiciously, "Then why did you come back?" Qin Feiyang said, "The Golden Wolf King has gone into hiding. I need the white-eyed wolf's help." I'm afraid that's not appropriate. Don't misunderstand. It's not that I don't trust you. It's just that the white-eyed wolf is too important. I feel like only he can make you so anxious." Lu Xingqian said. "Cut the crap. I've already made up my mind when I came here. I'll exchange someone for the white-eyed wolf." Qin Feiyang said impatiently. "Exchange? That's fine, but it has to be an equivalent exchange," Lu Xingqian said with a smile. In other words, he needed to find someone comparable to the white-eyed wolf. Qin Feiyang glanced at Lu Xingqian and entered the castle. He looked at the phantom snake emperor, Fatso, and the others and said, "You all heard what happened outside. I don't want to say anything more. Who's willing to exchange for the white-eyed wolf?" "Me." Lu Hong was the first to stand up. She looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Lu Xingqian knows how important I am to you. So he will definitely agree to let me exchange with Brother Wolf." "No, Lu Xingqian is such a dangerous person. How can I let a woman like you take the risk?" "Boss, I'll go." Fatso stepped in front of Lu Hong and looked at Qin Feiyang. Lu Hong said angrily, "Damn Fatso, can't you see us women? I'm not looking down on you. There are so many men here. If we let a woman like you go, won't we be laughed at in the future?" "This is a matter of face," Fatso said. "I didn't know you were a male chauvinist." Lu Hong said, "Stop fighting, all of you." At this moment, Lu Zheng got up and walked to Qin Feiyang. He said with a smile, "Let me go. In terms of importance, I'm the genius of the Lu family. I'm more important than any of them. If you go, Fat Lord won't have any objections." Fatty chuckled and retreated to the side. "Damn." Lu Zheng immediately raised his middle finger with a look of disdain. "I object." Lu Hong said. "Why do you object?" Lu Zheng was suspicious. Lu Hong said, "It's because you're the genius of the Lu family that we can't let you take the risk." Lu Zheng was stunned and said with a smile, are you concerned about me?" Lu Hong blushed and snorted. "Don't flatter yourself. I'm just thinking about Qin Feiyang. If you have an accident here, how will Qin Feiyang explain it to Second Grandpa and the others when we go back?" Lu Zheng was not angry at all. He said with a smile, "If you care about me, Just say it. Don't make such a lame excuse. You? Looking at this shameless guy, Lu Hong couldn't help but want to scold him. Enough. I know what you mean, but no matter what, I can't let you take the risk. Because you're the woman I like, I'll protect you with my life. Lu Zheng looked at Lu Hong seriously and said, TSK, TSK, TSK. First, Wang Yu confessed to boss. Now, Lu Hong officially confessed to Lu Hong. What day is it today? Why isn't anyone confessing to Fat Lord? Fatso looked at them with envy and jealousy. Lu Hong's face turned even redder. She lowered her head and didn't dare to look into everyone's eyes. There's a chance, Qin Feiyang muttered. From Lu Hong's expression, it wasn't hard to tell that she had already developed a good impression of Lu Zheng. It was just that she didn't want to accept it now. However, Qin Feiyang didn't notice that Luo Qingzhu, who was at the side, looked a little disappointed. However, Miss Longfeng noticed it, but she didn't say anything. Her eyes flickered with an inexplicable color. Qin Feiyang glanced at them and said to Lu Zheng, "All right then, you'll go?" With that, Lu Zheng left the castle. Seeing Lu Zheng appear, Lu Xingqian was also rather surprised. Lu Zheng glanced at Lu Xingqian and said indifferently, "Call out the white-eyed wolf. I'll exchange with him." "Ha ha!" Lu Xingqian laughed out loud, looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "You actually let him out, you're really willing?" Qin Feiyang said angrily, "Do you still want the Golden Wolf King? So much nonsense." "Yes. Of course I do." Lu Xingqian nodded and smiled. The white-eyed wolf immediately appeared, still tied up in chains. Lu Zheng took a step forward and landed beside Lu Xingqian. "I await the good news." Lu Xingqian looked at Qin Feiyang and smiled proudly, then disappeared with Lu Zheng. "Let's see how long you can be proud of yourself." Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed fiercely. He walked in front of the white-eyed wolf, took out the Chang Shui, and quickly cut the chains. "Bastard!" After regaining his freedom, the white-eyed wolf immediately stood up, his anger soaring to the sky. Qin Feiyang said telepathically, "We'll remember this. Quickly take me to the Golden Wolf King." "Okay." The white-eyed wolf nodded, turned around, and rushed toward White Bones Canyon. Qin Feiyang also turned and chased after him, asking, "Did Lu Xingqian do anything to you and Ling Yunfei? Or did he say anything? Did he dare to do anything to us?" The white-eyed wolf snorted and said, "But he did say something." "What did he say?" Qin Feiyang was curious. "He still hasn't changed his mind and wants me to follow him." He also asked Ling Yunfei how he survived in the Swallow Pan mountain range, but we didn't answer. The white-eyed wolf said. Qin Feiyang joked, "It seems that he likes you very much. Why don't you follow him? After all, he used to be a god of war. He must be of great help to you." "Yes. Why didn't I think of that? You go find the Golden Wolf King yourself. I'll go and have a good talk with him." The white-eyed wolf said, turned around, and rushed toward the valley. Qin Feiyang's face darkened. He pulled it back and said angrily, "Are you really going to follow him? Heartless bastard." As expected of the white-eyed wolf. "Didn't you ask me to follow him? I'll do as you wish. Is that not enough?" The white-eyed wolf frowned. Qin Feiyang said angrily, "That's just a joke. Don't you understand?" The white-eyed wolf said indifferently, "Sorry, I was born stupid. I can't tell what's a joke." Okay. I'll apologize to you, okay?" Qin Feiyang was helpless. If an apology is useful, why do I need justice? Be careful what you say in the future. Some jokes can't be made. The white-eyed wolf snorted and continued to run toward the Bone Canyon. Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. He had really lifted a brick and smashed his own foot. A moment later, a man and a wolf climbed to the top of the mountain and met up with the Scorpion King and the other two beasts. "Boss Wolf, I missed you so much." The Scorpion King immediately gave the white-eyed wolf a warm hug. "Get lost? I'm not in the mood to talk to you." The white-eyed wolf waved its claws, pushed the Scorpion King away, and scanned the canyon and mountains ahead. Qin Feiyang asked, "How's the situation?" The Crocodile King said, "Not a single white-eyed wolf appeared while you were away. No matter how good they are at hiding, they can't escape my nose. You guys wait for me here." The white-eyed wolf snorted and jumped down, searching the ground for the golden wolf king's scent. The Spider King said, "Boss Chin, can Boss Wolf really do it?" "Don't worry. Its nose is very sensitive." Before Qin Feiyang could speak, the Scorpion King beat him to it. Because it had spent some time alone with the white-eyed wolf, it knew the white-eyed wolf better than the Crocodile King, the Spider King, and the Ant King. "It is very sensitive. We used to rely on its nose to avoid many dangers and solve many problems. This time, it will definitely work." Qin Feiyang smiled. The Crocodile King snickered. "I think it must be a big wolf dog in its previous life." "Sure." Qin Feiyang's face changed. He quickly made a shushing gesture to the Crocodile King and whispered, "Don't let it hear you, or you'll have to bear the consequences." Thinking back, Fatso and Ling Yunfei, which one of them had not been taken advantage of? It was because they said the white-eyed wolf had a dog's nose. Understood. The Crocodile King nodded. While they were talking, the white-eyed wolf searched all the way and climbed to the top of a mountain not far away. It searched along the cliff for a while, and its eyes suddenly lit up. "Found it. Come quickly." It looked up at Qin Feiyang and the Crocodile King and the other three beasts and shouted. Qin Feiyang was delighted and smiled. "Found it so quickly? A dog's nose is a dog's nose. Let's go." One man and four beasts jumped down and quickly climbed to the top of the mountain where the white-eyed wolf was. The white-eyed wolf said, "It's been too long. The scent is very faint." This Chapter 1507. However, there are a lot of ghost wolves and their scent is strong. It's not hard to track them down. Follow me. The white-eyed wolf turned around and jumped down. However, he did not enter the Bone Canyon. Instead, he entered the mountain range on the left side of the canyon. "Can't you say it all in one breath?" Qin Feiyang glared at the white-eyed wolf angrily and quickly chased after him. The Crocodile Emperor and the other three beasts also quickly followed. When the white-eyed wolf first said that the Golden Wolf King's scent was very faint, Qin Feiyang was really frightened. In the mountain range below, there were layers upon layers of mountains, and the terrain was dangerous. Under the baking of 10 suns, there was no water or plants in the mountains. The dry and cracked ground was horrible to look at, and there was no sound in the mountains. It was so quiet that it made one's hair stand on end. The white-eyed wolf took the lead and followed the scent of the ghost wolves, shuttling between the mountains. Although the scent of the Golden Wolf King was not obvious, as long as they could find a ghost wolf, they could follow the clues and find the hiding place of the Golden Wolf King. A few hours passed. Under the lead of the white-eyed wolf, the group of people went hundreds of thousands of miles deep into the mountain range. Suddenly, the white-eyed wolf stopped in front of a huge mountain. The huge mountain was more than 10,000 feet tall and towered into the sky. It exuded a majestic aura that shocked people's hearts. Everyone stood at the foot of the mountain and looked up at the huge mountain. They could not help but feel small in their hearts. "Why did you stop here?" Qin Feiyang retracted his gaze and looked at the white-eyed wolf. The white-eyed wolf scanned the huge mountain, and his eyes were full of suspicion. He said, "The scent here is particularly strong, and I can clearly smell the scent of the Golden Wolf King." Qin Feiyang was surprised and looked up at the huge mountain. "I'll go ahead and take a look," the white-eyed wolf said and disappeared like lightning. A short while later, it ran back to Qin Feiyang and said, "There's also the scent of the ghost wolf ahead, but there's no scent of the Golden Wolf King." Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed as he stared at the giant peak. "That means the Golden Wolf King is..." "That's right. It's here." A cold light flashed in the white-eyed wolf's eyes. His aura surged as he pounced towards the giant peak. Rumble. Accompanied by an earth-shattering explosion, the giant mountain instantly shattered into pieces. It turned out that the inside of the giant mountain was hollow. There were over 10,000 ghost wolves gathered inside. Roar. Just as the mountain cracked open, ghost wolves roared out one after another. Most of them were 6-star combat emperors and below. Of course, the 9-star battle Thearcha's ghost wolf also had one. After they came out, they surrounded Qin Feiyang, the white-eyed wolf, the Scorpion King, and the other three beasts. They bared their fangs and glared fiercely. Boom. Crack. The giant mountain crumbled. The earth trembled and cracked. The sound was deafening. Roar. Accompanied by an exceptionally loud wolf howl, the Golden Wolf King rushed out of the dust and landed in front of Qin Feiyang. I hid so well, but you guys still found me. Do you guys have a dog's nose? The Golden Wolf King was depressed. Dog's nose. The Scorpion King and the other three beasts were shocked. They turned around and glanced at the white-eyed wolf. Indeed, the white-eyed wolf stared at the Golden Wolf King. His eyes were burning with anger. What are you looking at? Are you courting death? A few 9-star Battle Thearka's ghost wolves noticed the white-eyed wolf's gaze and shouted fiercely, "You guys are the ones courting death." The white-eyed wolf's eyes turned cold. The Golden Wolf King looked at the white-eyed wolf. It was as if he had discovered a new continent. His eyes were full of surprise. "If you don't want to die, come with us," the white-eyed wolf said. The Golden Wolf King was stunned. He mocked, "You're just an ordinary wolf cub. How dare you be so arrogant in front of us ghost wolves?" "I'm ordinary?" The white-eyed wolf was stunned. He was so angry that he laughed. Roar. Suddenly, a golden light rushed out from his body. A huge beast shadow instantly appeared above the white-eyed wolf's head. The beast shadow stepped on the ground, and its head reached the sky. It was as if a divine emperor had descended. The golden light shone in all directions. What kind of fighting soul is this? It's so oppressive. The Golden Wolf King was shocked. Facing the golden beast shadow was like facing the king of all beasts. He couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and fear. The other ghost wolves felt the same way. They even had an impulse to prostrate and worship it. How dare you? The 5 ghost wolves with 9-star combat emperors couldn't stand the pressure. They roared fiercely, and the shadows of beasts appeared behind them. Ferocious aura spread in all directions. They also activated their fighting souls and wanted to compete with the white-eyed wolf. This was because the white-eyed wolf's cultivation was lower than theirs. To them, it was a disgrace to be intimidated by the white-eyed wolf's fighting soul. To put it bluntly, they just couldn't accept it. Seeing this, the Crocodile Emperor's expression changed. He shouted, "Boss Wolf, you're no match for them. Step back." The Crocodile Emperor wanted to help, but the Scorpion Emperor suddenly stretched out his claws and pulled it back. "What?" The Crocodile Emperor raised his eyebrows. "In terms of strength, Boss Wolf is no match for them. But in terms of fighting souls, even if the Golden Wolf King comes personally, he's no match for Boss Wolf." The Scorpion Emperor laughed. The Crocodile Emperor was stunned. The Spider Emperor and the Ant Emperor looked at each other. Was it that powerful? Just wait and see. I guarantee that you'll be shocked. The reason why I chose to follow Boss Wolf was because of his battle soul, said the Emperor. The Scorpion Emperor said confidently. The Crocodile Emperor and the other 2 beasts looked at each other and couldn't help but look forward to it. Looking at the Wolf King again, looking at the few fighting souls of the ghost wolves, his eyes were filled with disdain. Deprive. Suddenly, it roared. The golden beast shadow opened its mouth wide, and a gust of wind suddenly blew in this place. Sand and stones flew everywhere. Following closely, the few fighting souls of the ghost wolves involuntarily flew towards the golden beast shadow. What's going on? The few ghost wolves suddenly panicked. Swallow. The white-eyed wolf roared again. Although it had a small body, its voice was loud and earth-shaking. Immediately, the few fighting souls of the ghost wolves were swallowed by the golden beast shadow. "This, my fighting soul, what did you do to us? Where are our fighting souls?" The few ghost wolves immediately panicked and roared at the white-eyed wolf. Boss Wolf's innate superpower is called Deprive. Deprive all fighting souls. In other words, as long as the fighting soul is swallowed by Boss Wolf, it will be lost forever. The Scorpion Emperor laughed cruelly. What? The few ghost wolves' faces changed color. The Golden Wolf King was also shocked and quickly retreated. When he saw the white-eyed wolf again, his huge eyes were filled with fear. The Crocodile Emperor, the Spider Emperor, and the Ant Emperor were also dumbfounded. In fact, these days, they had also heard of the white-eyed wolf's fighting soul, but it was the first time they saw it with their own eyes. Deprive fighting soul. Oh my God. How could there be such a terrifying fighting soul in this world? This was simply the nemesis of all fighting souls. Who would dare to activate their fighting souls in front of the white-eyed wolf? No wonder even the arrogant Scorpion Emperor was so polite and respectful to it. It turned out that it had such a heaven-defying method. The other ghost wolves around looked at the white-eyed wolf and kept quiet out of fear. Aren't you guys very powerful? Come on, continue. The white-eyed wolf looked at the few 9-star combat Emperor ghost wolves and laughed sinisterly. The pupils of the few ghost wolves shrank, and they did not dare to take a step forward. The Golden Wolf King sized up the white-eyed wolf and asked suspiciously, "You have such a heaven-defying fighting soul. Why do you still want to follow a human?" "I like to. What can you do?" The white-eyed wolf snorted. "What a pity. What a pity. Why don't you join us and dominate this region with us?" The Golden Wolf King tempted. "Dominate this region? Aren't you too unambitious?" "My goal is to dominate this world and this universe." The white-eyed wolf looked disdainful. The Golden Wolf King was stunned and said disdainfully, "You? Although your fighting soul is powerful, as long as we don't activate our fighting souls, what can you do to us?" "What about me?" Qin Feiyong took a step forward. "You?" The Golden Wolf King glanced at Qin Feiyong with disdain. "What can a mere human do? Killing you is as easy as killing a dog." Qin Feiyong sneered and took out the changshui. He used the phantom steps and appeared in front of the Golden Wolf King in half a blink of an eye. "You are courting death." The Golden Wolf King snorted and the divine bow appeared. Blood chi surged out. The divine bow was awakened immediately and exuded a destructive aura. Do we really have to destroy the divine bow? The Crocodile Emperor and the other 3 beasts mumbled and their eyes were filled with reluctance. However, Qin Feiyong did not hesitate. He grabbed the changshui and slashed at the divine bow. Clang! Sparks flew. With an ear-piercing sound, the divine bow broke on the spot. What? The Golden Wolf King froze. The other ghost wolves also looked at this scene in disbelief. Their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. A divine weapon was broken just like that? What kind of dagger was that? It was so terrifying. What a pity. What a pity. The Crocodile Emperor shook its head and sighed. The Ant Emperor and the other 2 beasts also felt sorry. If I didn't want this divine bow, I would have destroyed it when we were at the water source. I really don't know why you are so arrogant in front of me. Qin Feiyong took a step forward and placed the changshui on the Golden Wolf King's neck. The bone-piercing sharpness made the Golden Wolf King tremble uncontrollably. A sense of panic rose in its heart. Even a divine artifact could be easily cut apart, let alone a body of flesh and blood like this. Well, the Golden Wolf King smiled awkwardly and said, "Didn't you say not long ago that you want me to follow you? We can talk about it now." "Don't you think it's too late to talk about it now?" The Crocodile Emperor and the other 3 beasts sneered. "It's not too late. It's not too late at all. I'm very sincere. You must believe in me." The Golden Wolf King quickly said with a flattering smile. Qin Feiyong looked at the Golden Wolf King without saying a word. His expression was uncertain. The white-eyed wolf reminded, "Little Qinzi, Ling Yunfei and Lu Zheng are still waiting for us to save them." "Yes, Lu Xingqian said he wants it. If we don't give it to Lu Xingqian, I'm afraid." The Crocodile Emperor was also worried. "What did you say? Is it Lu Xingqian who wants me?" The Golden Wolf King asked. "That's right. Lu Xingqian captured Boss Qin's friend and asked us to take you to the exchange," the Scorpion King said. Chapter 1508. You're a wolf. Why would you be afraid of a tiger? The Scorpion King and the other beasts sneered. "You can't say that. Although he's only a combat emperor now, he used to be a true god of war. Do you think I can defeat him?" The Golden Wolf King said. The white-eyed wolf said coldly, "So you think you can defeat little Qinzi?" "Did I say that?" "Don't slander me," the Golden Wolf King said angrily. Its expression was full of anxiety. "Enough," Qin Feiyong shouted impatiently. The beasts immediately shut their mouths, and the place fell silent. Qin Feiyong looked at the Golden Wolf King and said, "If you don't want to face Lu Xingqian, Tell me what's going on with the chi and blood in your body. This. The Golden Wolf King hesitated. I can kill you at any time. Qin Feiyang moved the Chang Shui in his hand. The sharp blade immediately cut the Golden Wolf King's skin, and blood dripped down. The Golden Wolf King's body tensed up. It hurriedly said, I'll talk. This is because, but at this point, it fell silent again. Talk. Qin Feiyang shouted. Killing intent surged in his eyes. The Golden Wolf King trembled and said, It's because of a bead. It's this bead that gives me endless qi and blood. A bead? Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other. Their eyes were full of surprise. What kind of bead could have such a heaven-defying ability? Qin Feiyang said, Show it to me. This. The Golden Wolf King hesitated. Hurry. Qin Feiyang's patience was almost worn out. Looking at Qin Feiyang's murderous gaze, the Golden Wolf King sighed helplessly. A blood-red light shot out from its body. An exuberant qi and blood instantly enveloped the surroundings. Moreover, there was also a terrifying divine might. Qin Feiyang, the white-eyed wolf, the crocodile emperor, and the other three beasts were all surprised. It really was a bead. It was only the size of a pellet and was completely blood-red. At first glance, it looked as if it was cast from flesh and blood. Everyone found it hard to imagine how such a bead could possess such a terrifying amount of qi and blood. The Golden Wolf King said, I found this in an ancient ruin. I call it the Blood Pearl. Qi and Blood Pearl, Qin Feiyang murmured. The Qi and Blood Pearl had divine power, which meant that it was a divine item, and an incredible one at that. However, he had never heard of such a divine item that could provide people with qi and blood. The Golden Wolf King looked at Qin Feiyang anxiously and said, You've seen it. Can you return it to me now? Return it to you? The Crocodile Emperor and the other three beasts immediately laughed mockingly. The Golden Wolf King's eyelids twitched. He hurriedly looked at Qin Feiyang and said, Boss Qin, I gave you the Qi and Blood Pearl because I trust you. You can't take it by force and keep it for yourself. Qin Feiyang said lightly, I thank you for your trust, but I'll keep this Qi and Blood Pearl for now. Actually, he was worried that this Qi and Blood Pearl would fall into the hands of Lu Xingqian. Lu Xingqian was already difficult enough to deal with now. If he got this Qi and Blood Pearl, it would undoubtedly be like adding wings to a tiger. It would be even more difficult to deal with in the future. You. The Golden Wolf King's eyes were burning with anger. He roared, I was really blind to believe the nonsense of you humans. Humph. Even if you don't give it to me, this Qi and Blood Pearl will still be mine after I kill you. Moreover, when did I say that I would return it to you? Qin Feiyang snorted coldly. As soon as the Golden Wolf King heard this, he immediately slumped to the ground weakly. The divine bow was destroyed, and the Qi and Blood Pearl was snatched away. It was beaten back to its original state. It would be better to just kill it directly. Don't blame Boss. You asked for it. If you hadn't backstabbed us previously, Boss wouldn't have snatched your Qi and Blood Pearl at all, let alone destroy the divine bow. Because Boss is not that kind of greedy person at all. The Crocodile Emperor snorted coldly. In fact, no one had any prejudice against the Golden Wolf King. The only thing that annoyed everyone was that when Qin Feiyang and Lu Xingqian were fighting, this guy actually backstabbed them and took the opportunity to slip away. Wasn't this behavior treating everyone as fools? Stop being so pretentious. If he wasn't greedy, why would your armor be on him? I think you're stupid. Your armor was snatched away, and you still speak up for him. The Golden Wolf King sneered. Ha ha. The Crocodile Emperor laughed. The Scorpion Emperor and the other two beasts were also laughing. What are you laughing at? The Golden Wolf King raised his eyebrows. You better prick up your ears and listen carefully. Boss didn't steal this emperor's armor. This emperor gave it to him willingly. The Crocodile Emperor said, What? Willingly? The Golden Wolf King was dumbfounded. That's right. From the beginning to the end, he never forced me to give him my armor. The Crocodile Emperor sneered. Why? That's a divine artifact. Are you crazy? The Golden Wolf King said angrily. Because he's worth it. Although he's not a good person, he treats me as a friend and a brother. The crocodile emperor said. Little crocodile, why are you telling it this? It won't understand even if you tell it. Don't waste your breath. The scorpion emperor and the other two beasts waved their claws. The golden wolf king looked at the four beasts in a daze. Then, it turned to look at Qin Fei Yang, its eyes full of suspicion. It couldn't figure it out. What kind of charm did this human have? How could he make the four beasts, who had always been proud and aloof, submit to him willingly in such a short time? Qin Fei Yang asked, "Did you drip your blood on this chi and blood pearl to claim ownership?" Yes. The golden wolf king nodded. Erase the blood contract inside, Qin Fei Yang said in a tone that brooked no discussion. Sigh. The golden wolf king let out a long sigh. With a thought, the blood contract inside the chi and blood pearl instantly dissipated. Qin Fei Yang also immediately cut his finger and dripped his blood on it to claim ownership. After the blood contract was completed, he kept the chi and blood pearl in his body. Qin Fei Yang immediately revealed a look of bewilderment. After the chi and blood pearl entered his body, it didn't return to his energy reserve. Instead, it went straight to his heart. In the end, the chi and blood pearl merged with his heart. The moment it merged, Qin Fei Yang immediately felt as if there was an additional spring of life in his heart. His chi and blood were unprecedentedly vigorous. The golden wolf king glanced at Qin Fei Yang and snorted. The chi and blood pearl can not only provide chi and blood, but also protect your heart. Even if you encounter a divine weapon in the future, it may not be able to hurt your heart. TSK, TSK, TSK. It's really a divine item. Heard of it? The four beasts were speechless. The white-eyed wolf glanced at the golden wolf king, then looked at Qin Fei Yang and said, "Little Qin Zi, quickly take it to see Lu Xingqian." "What? I've already given you the chi and blood pearl. Why do you still want me to see Lu Xingqian?" The golden wolf king's expression changed, and he hurriedly shouted. The crocodile emperor gloated. "What can we do? Lu Xingqian specifically asked for you. Big brother Qin, I really don't want to go. Moreover, the chi and blood pearl is now in your hands. When Lu Xingqian sees me and realizes that I'm worthless, won't he just kill me? I don't want to die. I beg you, please be merciful and let me go, okay? I have an 80-year-old mother and a crying wolf pup waiting to be fed. I can't die." The golden wolf king lay on the ground and looked at Qin Fei Yang pitifully, begging repeatedly. The crocodile emperor and the four beasts were stunned. This guy was too good at bragging. An 80-year-old mother? A crying wolf pup waiting to be fed? How could he think of that? More shameless than me? I'm impressed. The white-eyed wolf also shook his head, his eyes full of disdain. Even Qin Fei Yang couldn't help but want to laugh. He lowered his head and pondered for a while, then said, "My friend is still in Lu Xingqian's hands, so no matter what, you have to go." The golden wolf king suddenly despaired. "But," Qin Fei Yang said again. "But what?" The golden wolf king perked up and looked at Qin Fei Yang expectantly. Qin Fei Yang let out a long breath and said, "I'll try my best to ensure your safety." "Just try your best?" The golden wolf king collapsed again, his eyes full of disappointment. "Take it. Let's go." Qin Fei Yang said, "You're not allowed to take Master Golden Wolf King away." Before he finished speaking, the ghost wolves around rushed forward and blocked in front of Qin Fei Yang. Qin Fei Yang raised his eyebrows and a murderous aura surged. Seeing that the situation was not good, the Golden Wolf King hurriedly got up and shouted, "Back down, Master." The ghost wolves were extremely anxious. "I don't care if I die, but you can't die. Back down," the Golden Wolf King shouted. The ghost wolves looked at each other and finally silently retreated to the side. "From now on, the Silver Wolf King is your only leader, and you have to listen to his arrangements. By the way, tell him not to avenge me." The Golden Wolf King sighed. The wolves looked at the Golden Wolf King with sad expressions. The Golden Wolf King sighed and looked at Qin Fei Yang. "Promise me one thing, don't hurt them." Qin Fei Yang nodded. The Golden Wolf King looked at the wolves reluctantly, took a deep breath, and shouted, "Then let's go." It stood up, held its head high, and strode in front of Qin Fei Yang, like a hero who was going to die for a righteous cause. It was valiant and high-spirited, making people not know whether to laugh or cry. Howl. But suddenly, the howls of wolves could be heard from afar as they drew closer and closer. Qin Feiyong was stunned. He was no stranger to this wolf howl. It was the ghost wolves sending messages. At the same time, hearing these wolf howls, the wolves also became restless. The golden wolf king also stopped in its tracks, its eyes glinting. What's going on? The scorpion king and the other beasts were surprised. Ha ha! The golden wolf king suddenly looked up to the sky and laughed, as if he had encountered a great thing. He shouted excitedly, "The heavens don't want me to die. The heavens don't want me to die." Qin Feiyong frowned, and an uneasy premonition arose in his heart. The golden wolf king suddenly stopped laughing, lowered his head, and looked at Qin Feiyong and said jokingly, "Do you know what news my tribesmen sent?" "Speak." Qin Feiyong said, "A few of my tribesmen captured 2 humans, and they said that those 2 humans know you. How can there be such a coincidence in this world?" The golden wolf king laughed. 2 humans? They know me? Qin Feiyong frowned. Chapter 1509. The white-eyed wolf said telepathically, "Quickly use the slave seal to sense it." Qin Feiyong immediately closed his eyes. "What's wrong? Are you very nervous and panicky now?" Seeing Qin Feiyong close his eyes, the golden wolf king laughed mockingly. Qin Feiyong ignored it. A moment later, suddenly, Qin Feiyong opened his eyes and looked at the complacent golden wolf king. 2 streaks of light burst out of his eyes. "Don't look at me like that. Even if you kneel down and beg me later, it's useless. You dare to provoke me. This is the price you have to pay." The golden wolf king snorted coldly. The white-eyed wolf raised its eyebrows and thought to itself, "Little Qin, it can't really be a viper, right?" It's not. The viper's aura is still very far away from us. And it's not just the viper. The pangolins are also very far away. In short, I used the slave seal in the vicinity and didn't find anyone I know. Qin Feiyong thought to himself. That's good. The white-eyed wolf breathed a sigh of relief and asked curiously, "Then who was the person caught by the white-eyed wolf? Who in the forgotten continent and the great Qin Empire doesn't know me?" Qin Feiyong. "It might be 2 unrelated people," Qin Feiyong said indifferently. "Unrelated people." The white-eyed wolf smiled playfully and raised its head to look at the golden wolf king. Qin Feiyong said to himself, "Don't make a sound. Let it be proud for a while." Understood. The white-eyed wolf also smiled evilly. "Why aren't you saying anything? Beg me. Maybe I'll be happy and let them go later." The golden wolf king looked at Qin Feiyong and shouted. Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed, and he changed the topic. With a flattering smile, he said, "Don't be like this. We're all friends. Let's talk nicely." "Who's friends with you?" "Don't flatter yourself," the golden wolf king said proudly and disdainfully. Yes, 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 please calm down. What do you think? We'll return the blood pearl to you, and you'll be merciful and let them go?" The white-eyed wolf also smiled. "Haha, weren't you guys very before? Very arrogant? Why are you begging me now? I can't bear you. How about this? This prince's back has been sore these days. Why don't you give this prince a massage?" The golden wolf king laughed. "Use wolves?" The ingrate was stunned, and a ferocious glint appeared in his eyes. "What are you waiting for? Hurry up. If I'm in a bad mood now, I can't guarantee what I'll do. You guys have to think carefully." The golden wolf king shook its head, beaming with joy and complacency. "Get out of the way. Get out of the way." Suddenly, there was a commotion behind the wolf pack. Qin Feiyong, the white-eyed wolf, the crocodile emperor, and the golden wolf king all turned their heads to look. They saw 4 9-star combat emperors walking over with a man and a woman. "It's them?" The white-eyed wolf was stunned. Qin Feiyong was also a little surprised. They were a man and a woman, and both looked very young. The man was about 25 or 26 years old. He had a dignified appearance, and his 7-foot body was tall and straight like an iron pine tree. He exuded an oppressive aura. The woman had a beautiful face. Her black hair was like a waterfall, and she was elegant and refined. She wore a floor-length dress that made her look like a fairy. You guys know each other? The crocodile emperor and the other two beasts asked secretly.
Yes.
The man's name is Mu Qing. The woman's name is Shan Mei. Qin Feiyong transmitted his voice. As the saying goes, enemies are destined to meet. The white-eyed wolf sneered secretly. Enemies? The four beasts looked at each other, and there was a hint of playfulness in their eyes. It seemed that the situation was not what the Golden Wolf King thought. Qin Feiyong? White-eyed wolf. Mu Qing and Shan Mei also saw Qin Feiyong, and their expressions couldn't help but be stunned. The white-eyed wolf's pupils suddenly shrank. He looked at Shan Mei in surprise and transmitted his voice in disbelief. Damn. Shan Mei's cultivation has already broken through to a 2-star combat emperor. Is there a problem? Qin Feiyong said. Shan Mei's talent is not as good as Ren Wushuang's, but she stepped into the combat emperor first. Is this not a problem? The white-eyed wolf thought to himself. Qin Feiyong laughed secretly and said, "This just confirms one of my conjectures." What conjecture? The white-eyed wolf asked secretly. Qin Feiyong said, Lu Xingqian's divine spatial item has a different time rule inside it. You mean, Lu Xingqian's divine spatial item is the same as the ancient castle? The white-eyed wolf said, yes. Otherwise, how could Lu Xingqian's cultivation improve so quickly? This Shan Mei has been following him for a long time. Naturally, she can't be compared to my sister. Qin Feiyong thought to himself, do you think this Shan Mei is following Lu Xingqian because of this? The white-eyed wolf said in surprise, I don't think so. Look, back in the spiritual state. In order to get Shan Mei's forgiveness, Lu Xingqian didn't hesitate to put down his pride and face and kneel to her. This means that Lu Xingqian really likes her. I think Shan Mei was also moved by Lu Xingqian's sincerity, Qin Feiyong said. Then what should we do now? No matter what the relationship between Shan Mei and Lu Xingqian is, her relationship with Ren Wushuang is unquestionable. Should we save her or not? The white-eyed wolf asked secretly. No. Qin Feiyong's answer was very straightforward. He didn't even think about it. Shan Mei would become an enemy sooner or later if she followed Lu Xingqian. Facing an enemy, he would never show mercy because of some external factors. During the conversation, the four ghost wolves had already escorted Mu Qing and Shan Mei to the Golden Wolf King's side. The Golden Wolf King glanced at the two of them and sneered, Behave yourselves. Don't play any tricks. The two of them remained silent and looked at Qin Feiyong. Shan Mei nodded and smiled at Qin Feiyong with a complicated look in her eyes. However, in the depths of Mu Qing's eyes, there was a cold glint and murderous intent. The Golden Wolf King stood in front of Shan Mei and Mu Qing and looked at Qin Feiyong. You know each other, right? Yes. Qin Feiyong nodded. Sure. I thought you would deny it, but I didn't expect you to admit it so readily. You're a man. You're responsible. I admire you. The Golden Wolf King chuckled. We already know each other. What's there to hide? Qin Feiyong was speechless. Since you've accepted it, then it's easy. Quickly hand over the Qi and Blood Pearl. The Golden Wolf King said. Qi and Blood Pearl? Mu Qing and Shan Mei looked suspicious. However, although they did not know what the Qi and Blood Pearl was, with their eyesight, they could naturally see that the Golden Wolf King was using them to threaten Qin Feiyong. Mu Qing mocked, Golden Wolf King, you must be mistaken. Do you think it's okay to use us to threaten him? Shut up. Not only did the Golden Wolf King not understand, but he also glared at him fiercely. Then, he looked at Qin Feiyong and said, There's a limit to my patience. The corners of Qin Feiyong's mouth lifted, and he said with a smile, Do it. As soon as he finished speaking, the Crocodile Emperor and the other three beasts immediately swarmed forward and punched and kicked the Golden Wolf King. What's going on? The Golden Wolf King was dumbfounded. The surrounding ghost wolves were also dumbfounded. Bang, bang, bang. After a while, the Golden Wolf King was beaten to the ground by the Crocodile Emperor and the other three beasts. His chi-si was also destroyed. At this moment, the white-eyed wolf finally stepped forward and said with a smile, Your back is sore, right? You're in a bad mood, right? Coincidentally, My fist is also itchy, and I'm in a bad mood. Today, I'll help you loosen your bones. I guarantee that you'll be happy both physically and mentally. Bang bang. Ow. The white-eyed wolf attacked mercilessly. One punch and one bump. The golden wolf king was in so much pain that he kept crying out. How could this be? This is not how the story would develop in my imagination. The surrounding wolves looked at each other in dismay, their minds in a mess. What are you still standing there for? Quickly cripple their cultivation and torture them to death. The golden wolf king roared at the wolves. The 4 9-star combat emperor ghost wolves came back to their senses and immediately destroyed the cultivation of Mu Qing and the mysterious man. Then, just like how the crocodile emperor and the other 4 beasts had treated the golden wolf king, they beat up Mu Qing and the mysterious man. The golden wolf king laughed and said, "Wolf cub, if you don't stop now, prepare to collect their corpses." It doesn't matter. The white-eyed wolf shrugged and continued to beat them up violently. What? It doesn't matter? The golden wolf king was once again dumbfounded. Didn't he care a lot before? He even said good things about him. Why did he suddenly become indifferent now? I'll let you die with a clear understanding. We do know them, but we're opponents and enemies. We're not friends as you think. The white-eyed wolf sneered. What? The golden wolf king was completely dumbfounded. After all this time, this man and woman were Qin Feiyang's opponents? The 4 9-star combat emperor ghost wolves also stopped what they were doing and looked at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf in astonishment. Opponents? Enemies? What kind of joke was this? How could there be such a funny thing? The golden wolf king came back to his senses and immediately shouted, "If we're opponents, then why did you act like you cared so much just now? You even tried to curry favor with me? I'm just teasing you. Don't you understand? Silly." The white-eyed wolf looked at him with disdain. Teasing me? The golden wolf king was instantly petrified. Could it be that they were making fun of him? Bastard! Is this very funny? The next moment, it suddenly got up and looked at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf and roared. Who told you to get up? Get down! The white-eyed wolf kicked down, and the golden wolf king fell to the ground again with a bang. You're too shameless. I hate you. The golden wolf king cried out sorrowfully. I was afraid that you didn't hate me. The white-eyed wolf smiled coldly and slashed down with its paw. The golden wolf king's skull almost cracked open. Who did I offend? Why did I have to meet you malefactors? The golden wolf king looked aggrieved and tears flowed out of his eyes. He had been in the divine sight for countless years and had never been so aggrieved. It was simply a joke. You're still scolding me? It seems that you really don't want to live. The white-eyed wolf's eyes flashed fiercely. Think about it. The golden wolf king's body trembled and he nodded repeatedly. Is that wrong? The white-eyed wolf slapped the golden wolf king's head again. He hurriedly said, Wrong, wrong? Then are you still smug? The white-eyed wolf sneered. No, no. The golden wolf king shook his head like a rattle drum and said, I have deeply realized my mistakes. In the future, I will turn over a new leaf and become a wolf again. This is the price for your arrogance. Chapter 15:10. Qin Feiyang pondered deeply. Boss Qin, don't kill me. I beg you. I still have a lot of time. A lot of good years. The golden wolf king looked at Qin Feiyang and said with a crying face. Qin Feiyang looked at it expressionlessly and asked, Will you still obey me in the future? No, no, no. Never again. The golden wolf king shook its head repeatedly. Qin Feiyang said lightly, I really don't dare to believe your words now. It's true, I swear. The golden wolf king said. Qin Feiyang said, If it were you, would you believe my oath? What do I have to do to make you believe me? The golden wolf king said anxiously, I only believe in myself. Qin Feiyang said. The golden wolf king was burning with anxiety. Wait a minute. Why did these words sound so familiar? Very soon, it revealed a bitter smile. It turned out that when it was at the water source, it had a similar conversation with Elder Gua and the old man in black. However, the situation back then was different from now. At that time, it was high and mighty, looking down on Elder Gua and the old man in black. And now, it was kneeling there, begging for its life. Something is not right. Why did he say that he only believes in himself? Could it be he also knows the blood soul technique? The Golden Wolf King was shocked and puzzled. It quickly looked at Qin Feiyong, and its pupils constricted. Qin Feiyong was indeed forming seals. After a while, a palm-sized seal appeared. This is not the blood soul technique? The Golden Wolf King was surprised. Blood soul technique? Qin Feiyong was stunned and said disdainfully, "How can a mere blood soul technique be compared to my slavery seal?" As soon as he finished speaking, he waved his hand and the slavery seal turned into a stream of light, sinking into the top of the Golden Wolf King's head at lightning speed. Ouch! The Golden Wolf King instantly howled and rolled on the ground. This is called the enslavement seal. It's countless times more powerful than the blood soul technique. Not only can it instantly erase your soul, it can also peek into your inner thoughts. So, don't play any tricks in the future. The white-eyed wolf sneered. The Golden Wolf King was dumbfounded. The white-eyed wolf said, "By the way, the enslavement seal is a divine art that can break the blood soul technique. Only little Qinzi can break the enslavement seal." Divine art. The Golden Wolf King's eyes trembled. Then, he quickly looked at Qin Feiyong and said, "Boss Qin, don't worry. I swear to follow you until death. I will never betray you." Qin Feiyong said, "Now that you want to betray us, it depends on whether you have the guts to do so." "Yes, yes, yes." The Golden Wolf King smiled fawningly. Mu Qing, who was watching from the side, couldn't help but feel uneasy when she saw this scene. If Qin Feiyong and the Golden Wolf King fought, she still had a chance to escape. But now, the Golden Wolf King was actually subdued by Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong was already not someone she could deal with. With the Golden Wolf King, there was no hope at all. What should I do? Am I going to die here? For a moment, Mu Qing was at a loss. Qin Feiyong took out a spirit sea pill and threw it to the Golden Wolf King. Then, he turned to Mu Qing and Shun Mei with a playful smile. Looking at Qin Feiyong's eyes, Shun Mei was a little flustered. She said, "Qin Feiyong, it's not your style to hit someone when they are down. Besides, even if we are not friends, we are not enemies either." No, no, no. How could I hit someone when they are down? Qin Feiyong waved his hand and smiled brightly. But the more he was like this, the more flustered Shen Mei and Mu Qing were. "Don't be nervous. Now, not only will I not kill you, but I will also thank you, because your appearance is equivalent to a timely rain that saves my life." Qin Feiyong laughed. "Thank you? Timely rain?" The two of them were stunned. They didn't understand this. "You will understand later." Qin Feiyong smiled and sent the two of them to the castle. The Golden Wolf King asked, "Boss Qin, who are they?" The Scorpion King and the other three beasts also looked at Qin Feiyong suspiciously. Qin Feiyong said, "They are the people Lu Xingqian cares about the most." "I see." The Scorpion King and the other three beasts suddenly understood. In this case, the appearance of these two people was really timely rain. Lu Xingqian probably never dreamed that the situation would reverse so quickly. Qin Feiyong picked up the broken divine bow and said with a smile, "Let's go and meet him." "Let's go." "What about me?" The Golden Wolf King hurriedly said. The white-eyed wolf rolled his eyes and said, "Do you still need to ask?" "Of course, we should go together. Lu Xingqian wants you. If you don't show up, how can we play?" "Okay." The Golden Wolf King nodded helplessly. It seemed that they couldn't escape now. Whoosh! One man and six beasts immediately rushed toward the valley. When they entered the valley, the sky had already darkened. Qin Feiyong stood on a stone, glanced at the empty valley, and said lightly, "The Golden Wolf King has been brought here. Come out." Swish! Before he finished speaking, Lu Xingqian appeared in front of him out of thin air. He glanced at the Golden Wolf King behind Qin Feiyong and said with a smile, "Brother Qin's methods are really amazing. You flatter me." Qin Feiyong grinned. Lu Xingqian frowned. Why was he smiling so strangely? Qin Feiyong asked, "Where are Ling Yunfei and Lu Zhang?" Lu Xingqian looked at Qin Feiyong suspiciously. Without thinking much, he waved his hand, and Ling Yunfei and Lu Zheng immediately appeared. Qin Feiyang said, "Let them go." Lu Xingqian shook his head and said, "No, no, no. You have to give me the Golden Wolf King first." "No," Qin Feiyang said. Lu Xingqian said unhappily, "Brother Qin, we are all honest people. What are you afraid of?" "I am honest, but you may not be," Qin Feiyang said lightly. Lu Xingqian smiled helplessly and said, "Am I so unworthy of your trust?" "You know very well," Qin Feiyang said. "Okay." Lu Xingqian nodded. But suddenly, he noticed the divine bow in Qin Feiyang's hand and raised his eyebrows. He asked, "What's wrong with the divine bow?" "I destroyed it. I was afraid that you wouldn't believe me, so I brought it here for you to see," Qin Feiyang said. "Destroyed?" Lu Xingqian's face twitched. What was this bastard thinking? Didn't he know that it was a divine artifact? It would be a pity to destroy it. Sigh. He sighed, looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Brother Qin, you're making things difficult for me." "I don't think it's difficult. You give me Ling Yunfei and Lu Zheng, and I give you the Golden Wolf King. It's a fair deal," Qin Feiyang said. "No, no, no. If the divine bow was still here, it would indeed be a fair deal, because it's 2 for 2. But now, the divine bow is destroyed, and you only have the Golden Wolf King in your hand. This deal has become unfair," Lu Xingqian said. "What do you mean?" Qin Feiyang frowned. "I mean, I have 2 hostages, and you only have the Golden Wolf King. 1 for 2. Do you think that's possible?" "As a fair deal, it should be 1 for 1, Lu Xingqian said. Qin Feiyang was stunned. The white-eyed wolf, the crocodile emperor, and the other 3 beasts couldn't help but want to laugh, but they tried their best to hold it in. Since it was an act, they had to finish it. After Qin Feiyang came back to his senses, he looked at Lu Xingqian and said, "I still don't understand. Can you make it clearer?" "All right, I'll be straightforward. I can only give you one. It's either Lu Zheng or Ling Yunfei," Lu Xingqian said with a smile. "I see." Qin Feiyang nodded in realization, and a sneer appeared on his face. He said, "Don't talk about the divine bow. If I'm not wrong, you didn't intend to give them all to me from the beginning, right?" "Haha." Lu Xingqian smiled and said, "Brother Qin is indeed a wise man. Yes, whether the divine bow is destroyed or not, I can only give it to you." "When do you plan to give me the remaining person?" Qin Feiyang said. "When you're done, promise me," Lu Xingqian said. Qin Feiyang said, "I, Qin Feiyang, am a man of my word. If I say I'll help you do something, I'll do it." Lu Xingqian said with a smile, "Of course I trust Brother Qin's character, but you can't let your guard down." Qin Feiyang said, "Then I'm really curious. What do you want me to do for you?" The white-eyed wolf sneered and said, "Now that we're at the divine site, there's no need to hide it anymore. Heaven's secrets can't be revealed. Let's wait until we're there," Lu Xingqian said with a smile. Sigh. Qin Feiyang looked at him and suddenly let out a soft sigh. He said, "You should know me. The more you force me, the less I will compromise." "I know, but I know better. Whether it's Ling Yunfei or Lu Zheng, they're both very important to you. Unless you don't want their lives." Lu Xingqian smiled playfully and put his hands behind his back, giving off an arrogant attitude that everything was under his control. "Haha." The white-eyed wolf couldn't help but raise his head and laugh. When the white-eyed wolf laughed like this, the Scorpion King and the other 3 beasts couldn't help but laugh. They were very happy. "What are you laughing at?" Lu Xingqian raised his eyebrows. However, not only did no one answer him, even Qin Feiyang laughed, and his laughter was filled with ridicule that couldn't be dispersed. Looking at Qin Feiyang and the other beasts, Lu Xingqian felt inexplicably irritated and said angrily, "What are you laughing at?" "I'm laughing at your naivety." After the white-eyed wolf said this, he laughed again. I can't. My stomach is hurting from laughing. My tears are coming out from laughing. It's so funny. How can there be such an ignorant person in the world? It's so funny." The Scorpion King and the other 3 beasts couldn't stop laughing. Seeing this, Lu Xingqian's eyes darkened and he shouted, "All of you, shut up. Then he looked at Qin Feiyang and said angrily, "Do you still want Ling Yunfei and Lu Zheng's lives?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. "Then quickly give me the Golden Wolf King," Lu Xingqian shouted. Obviously, he had completely lost his patience. "No." Qin Feiyang shook his head. "Bastard, are you playing tricks?" Lu Xingqian was furious, his veins bulging. "No, I'm very sincere." Qin Feiyang showed an innocent face. Lu Xingqian was furious and shouted, "Then quickly give me the Golden Wolf King." "No." Qin Feiyang shook his head again. "Fuck. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you?" Lu Xingqian roared again and again. He was about to go crazy. "Alas, I really want to give you the Golden Wolf King, but someone doesn't agree." Chapter 15:11. Who dares not to agree? Lu Xingqian roared angrily. Qin Feiyang joked, "It's me." "You?" Lu Xingqian was stunned and laughed harshly. "Sure enough, you're playing with me. It seems that if I don't use my real strength, you won't be afraid." After that, killing intent surged in his eyes, and he slapped Ling Yunfei's head with his palm. Qin Feiyang's eyes suddenly turned cold. "If you dare to hurt a hair on his head, I promise you'll regret it for the rest of your life." After that, with a wave of his hand, Mu Qing and Shun Mei appeared out of thin air. "What?" Lu Xingqian hurriedly withdrew his hand and looked at the two in disbelief. "My lord, I'm sorry." Mu Qing lowered her head and said. Shin Mei also had a look of self-blame. Although they had been in the ancient castle the entire time, they had clearly heard everything that had happened outside. They also finally understood what Qin Feiyang meant by timely help. Lu Xingqian came back to his senses after a long while and said angrily, "How did you fall into his hands?" Both of them were silent. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "Let me tell you." Lu Xingqian immediately looked at Qin Feiyang. "It's really too much of a coincidence. It's so coincidental that you can't believe it. When I subdued the Golden Wolf King and was about to bring it to see you, the Golden Wolf King's clansmen suddenly sent news that they had captured 2 humans. At first, I thought it might be the people around me, but I never expected it to be Mu Qing and Shin Mei. Do you think this is fate?" Qin Feiyang joked. Lu Xingqian clenched his hands and turned his head abruptly to look at Mu Qing and Shin Mei. He said angrily, "Why are you coming this way? Aren't you causing trouble for me?" Mu Qing said, "We came here specifically to find you." "Looking for me?" Lu Xingqian stared blankly for a moment, then said in surprise, "Does that mean the all-seeing eye can be used?" Qin Feiyang glanced at Mu Qing with a hint of bewilderment in his eyes. Before entering the divine ruin, he had discussed the omniscient eye with the mysterious madam, but at that time, the mysterious lady couldn't be sure. "Yes, I can use it, but I can only see the general location. That's why we came here. We were already very careful on the way, but we didn't expect to still be discovered by the ghost wolf," Mu Qing said, not daring to look up at Lu Xingqian's eyes. Hearing this, Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows slightly. Although he could only see the general location, it was still a big problem. It looked like if there was a chance, he would have to get rid of this person. After hearing this, Lu Xingqian said in a low voice, "Then you didn't use your all-seeing eyes to spy on Qin Feiyang's position?" "Yes. I knew he was in the same direction as you, but because I couldn't determine your exact location, I didn't know you were together. I also didn't expect to bump into him first. Actually, it's all those damn ghost wolves' fault. If it weren't for them, we wouldn't have fallen into Qin Feiyang's hands." Mu Qing raised her head and looked at the Golden Wolf King, her eyes full of hatred. The Golden Wolf King chuckled and said, "Don't say that. This is called fate. We can't avoid it even if we were thousands of miles apart." "Fuck your fate." Mu Qing was instantly furious. The Golden Wolf King said disdainfully, "Why are you scolding me? You're so uncultured. I feel embarrassed standing next to you." Mu Qing was so angry that she spat out a mouthful of blood. The Golden Wolf King was stunned. He laughed and said, "You spat out blood just like that? You're too weak. You're so delicate. You should hide in your room like a girl and not go out." "Bastard. Just you wait. I'll definitely kill you." Mu Qing roared. She was so angry that her body was trembling. Do you think I want to talk to you? The Golden Wolf King rolled his eyes and ignored her. Mu Qing stared at the Golden Wolf King angrily. She was out of breath. If looks could kill, the Golden Wolf King would have died 1,000 times. Haven't you embarrassed yourself enough? Shut up. Lu Xingchen looked at Mu Qing and shouted coldly. Then, he looked at Qin Feiyang and said, So, the Golden Wolf King has been completely subdued by you? That's right. Qin Feiyang nodded. I'm impressed. Lu Xingchen laughed angrily. You're welcome. Qin Feiyang laughed. Humph. Lu Xingchen snorted. He glanced at Mu Qing and Shen Mei and said, Cut the crap. Let's exchange hostages. How? Qin Feiyang asked. Lu Xingchen shouted. Nonsense. 2 for 2, of course. You're angry. After all, this is an unfair deal. I have to ask clearly. Qin Feiyang joked. The word unfair was especially heavy. It was as if 3 invisible slaps had landed on Lu Xingchen's face, causing him to feel a burning pain. This was a blatant slap to the face. Hurry up. Lu Xingchen suppressed his anger and urged. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. With a wave of his hand, he sent the white-eyed wolf, the Golden Wolf King, and the Crocodile Emperor to the castle. Then, he personally grabbed Mu Qing and Shen Mei and walked toward Lu Xingchen. You're really careful. Lu Xingchen sneered. Are you blaming me? You're too cunning. I can only do it myself. Qin Feiyang chuckled and walked in front of Lu Xingchen. There was only a distance of 2 meters between them. Lu Xingchen snorted and pushed Ling Yunfei and Lu Zheng toward Qin Feiyang. At the same time, Qin Feiyang pushed Mu Qing and Shen Mei toward Lu Xingchen. Then, both of them waved their hands at the same time. Ling Yunfei and Lu Zheng were sent to the castle by Qin Feiyang. Mu Qing and Shen Mei were also sent to the space treasure by Lu Xingchen. After Ling Yunfei and the others were sent away, Qin Feiyang and Lu Xingchen seemed to have discussed it in advance. They threw a punch at each other at the same time. We really have a tacit understanding. Lu Xingchen laughed. We do have a tacit understanding, but our Tao is different. Qin Feiyang sneered. Yeah, what a pity. Lu Xingchen nodded. A cold light flashed in his eyes. A strand of divine sense suddenly appeared on his fist. Qin Feiyang's expression changed. The divine armor and battle formula were activated almost at the same time. Because the speed of the attack was too fast, it was impossible to avoid the battle now. Boom. In an instant, the 2 fists met with a loud bang. Crack. The armor was fine, but Qin Feiyang's arm was instantly shattered and blood flowed. This was still considered good. If he hadn't activated the battle formula and armor in time, Lu Xingchen's punch would have been enough to kill him. In the end, Qin Feiyang smashed into the ground behind him like a meteorite. Accompanied by an earth-shattering boom, a huge crater appeared, and dust covered the sky. You're not my opponent after all. Lu Xingchen sneered. With a monstrous murderous aura, he rushed into the huge pit and attacked Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang stood up, spitting blood. He looked at Lu Xingchen and said, Are you sure you want to kill me now? I can't kill you? Lu Xingchen sneered. I didn't say I can't kill you. But if I die now, who will help you do what you want me to do for you? Qin Feiyang said. The situation has already developed to this point. I don't believe that you will keep your promise to help me. So, instead of letting you live and continue to cause trouble for me, it's better to get rid of you as soon as possible. Lu Xingchen said. A wisp of divine consciousness swept out like a poisonous snake and shot toward Qin Feiyang's glabella like lightning. It seems that you know me very well. In that case, today, let's have a fight to the death. Whoever runs is a coward. Qin Feiyang roared. In a flash, Chang Shui appeared and collided with the divine consciousness. Clang. The divine consciousness was annihilated on the spot. A trace of blood flowed from the corner of Lu Xingchen's mouth. Chang Shui was also sent flying. Qin Feiyang staggered and retreated. Lu Xingchen said disdainfully, If you don't revive Chang Shui, you'll never be able to kill me. Although I don't have much divine consciousness left, it's enough to kill you. Then I'll revive Chang Shui and kill you. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. The qi and blood in his body surged out and flowed into Chang Shui. What? Revive with qi and blood? Lu Xingqian's expression changed drastically. Clang! As soon as the qi and blood flowed into Chang Shui buzzed and trembled. A vast divine power rolled out. Along with the divine power was a shocking sharpness. The wind howled and the sharpness destroyed the world. The area within 100 miles was instantly razed to the ground. Moreover, as the qi and blood flowed in, the divine power and sharpness emitted by Chang Shui became more and more terrifying. 500 miles, 800 miles, 1,000 miles, 1,500 miles. Everything that could be seen, such as giant peaks and mountain ridges, was collapsing crazily. The earth was also trembling, cracking, and sinking. That scene was like the prelude to the end of the world. Do you really want to die? Lu Xingqian was shocked and furious. Don't worry, even if I use qi and blood to revive Chang Shui, he'll still be alive in the end. Qin Feiyang sneered. The qi and blood flowed continuously as if they were endless. He could clearly sense that although he had been reviving Chang Shui, his own qi and blood did not flow out at all. And the qi and blood that was flowing out now all came from the qi and blood pearl. In other words, it was not him reviving Chang Shui, but the qi and blood pearl reviving Chang Shui. No, I have to strike first. Seeing that Qin Feiyang was not moved at all, Lu Xingqian's eyes darkened. A divine consciousness rushed out from the top of his head. There were a total of 10 strands of divine consciousness. It was obvious that at this moment, he really wanted to kill Qin Feiyang. 10 strands of divine consciousness were launched at the same time, attacking Qin Feiyang. A terrifying aura destroyed everything in all directions. Qin Feiyang grinned and waved his hand. Chang Shui, with a monstrous bloody light, attacked at lightning speed like a beautiful demon knife. Boom! In an instant, the 10 strands of divine consciousness were destroyed, and the ground was ravaged. Lu Xingqian was also sent flying on the spot. His body cracked and blood gushed out. So strong? Qin Feiyang was shocked. According to his estimation, Chang Shui's current state of revival was at most 1/10. It might even be less than 1/10. But such a simple revival was actually able to destroy Lu Xingqian's 10 strands of divine consciousness so easily? This Chang Shui was too powerful. At the same time, Lu Xingqian's heart was also in turmoil. When he faced Chang Shui just now, he felt as if he was facing the Grim Reaper. An indescribable fear emerged in his heart. It was pitch black in front of him, and he could not see any light or hope. And he also knew. The current Chang Shui had not fully recovered, but it actually had such terrifying power. Chapter 15:12. Clang! Chang Shui's aura became more and more terrifying. The destructive waves had spread thousands of miles away. The mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. The void was distorted. Lu Xingqian was more and more shocked. Was this the power of Chang Shui? Wait a minute. Something was wrong. Although Chang Shui's power was very terrifying, given Qin Feiyang's cultivation, how could he recover? What was with the vitality? He had been recovering for so long. Why did Qin Feiyang not show any signs of aging or weakness? Could it be? Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something. His gaze trembled violently as he stared at Qin Feiyang. Could it be that the Golden Wolf King, that's right, the Golden Wolf King gave it to me, but I won't tell you. What exactly is it? Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. Boom, crack. Strong winds swept across the world. Suddenly, the void around Chang Shui actually cracked inch by inch. What? The void is shattered. Lu Xingqian's expression changed. Only the divine god of battle had the ability to shatter the void. In other words, the sharpness that Chang Shui emitted at this moment had already reached the level of a god of combat, and it was a true god of combat. Even so, Chang Shui's aura continued to soar. It could be seen that, currently, the power that Chang Shui displayed was not his full strength. It was stronger. Lu Xingqian was more and more terrified. He shouted, Brother Qin, stop. We can discuss this. You only want to discuss with me now? What were you doing earlier? Sorry, there's no room for discussion. Qin Feiyang roared. Chang Shui tore through the sky. His peerlessly terrifying sharpness destroyed the void one after another, shocking the world. Lu Xingqian's face was pale. He quickly entered the Space Divine item. You think you'll be fine if you hide in the Space Divine item? You'll be destroyed together with the Space Divine item. Qin Feiyang roared, his killing intent soaring to the heavens. Rumble. Chang Shui crashed into the ground. A destructive aura instantly rolled out in all directions, toppling mountains and overturning seas. Inside the spatial divine item, Lu Xingqian, Mu Qing, and Shunmei stood together and looked at the stone walls on all sides. Crack. The stone wall was cracking continuously. My lord, what should we do? If this continues, the spatial divine object will be destroyed. Mu Qing was very anxious. Xinmei's face was also filled with shock. How could he have imagined that Qin Feiyang had actually become this powerful after not seeing him for so many years? Lu Xingqian's face was gloomy. Chang Shui's strength had already exceeded his imagination. Even the space divine item could not withstand his attack. He didn't know what to do now, but compared to the spatial divine item, he was more worried about how to escape. This time, Qin Feiyang was not joking. He really wanted to kill him. And if this situation continued, the spatial divine object would be destroyed sooner or later. Once the spatial divine object was destroyed, he would no longer have a place to hide. Without a place to hide, it meant that he would have to face Qin Feiyang head-on. But at this moment, Qin Feiyang was too strong. He was no match for him at all. The cracks on the stone wall were getting bigger and bigger. The three of them could already clearly sense Chang Shui's sharpness. The sharpness was bone-piercing, like the arrival of the Grim Reaper. Their hearts were filled with despair. Life and death were on the line. The destruction of the spatial divine object was also in an instant. Stop! But at this moment, a violent shout suddenly sounded outside. The voice was like a bell, shaking the sky for thousands of miles, exuding a great divine power. What's that sound? Lu Xingqian and the other two were surprised. At the same time, outside, Qin Feiyang also suddenly looked up at the sky, because the shout came from the sky above. Immediately, he glared and instantly got up, full of disbelief. In the void above, there was actually a giant python floating. Its body was hundreds of feet long, and its whole body was fiery red as if cast from magma. Its pair of red eyes were like two lanterns, shining with divine light. It's actually floating in the air. How can it fly? Qin Feiyang murmured. And the giant python's body exuded a mighty divine power. This was not the power of a fake god, but the power of a real war god, without the slightest impurity. This meant that this was a war god. The giant python looked down at Qin Feiyang and shouted coldly, "Your dagger has broken the balance of the first level of the miracle. Please stop the recovery immediately." Break the balance of the first level of the miracle? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Why did these words sound like the guardian of the miracle? Hurry up, the giant python shouted. The divine power poured down on Qin Feiyang like a waterfall. Humph! Qin Feiyang snorted coldly. Even if the giant python was the guardian of the miracle, he was not afraid now. Chang Shui turned in the air, and with the power to destroy the world, he faced the divine power head-on. Boom! The void was destroyed, and the sky trembled. Chang Shui was like a hot knife through butter. He blasted away the divine power and went straight to the giant python. The giant python was dumbfounded. Obviously, Chang Shui's power was also beyond its imagination. You dare to come out and stop me? Qin Feiyang sneered. At this moment, his blood was boiling, and he was full of confidence. All of this came from Chang Shui. With the continuous influx of blood and qi, Chang Shui's power became more and more terrifying. Even Qin Feiyang now had the confidence to pierce through the sky. Human brat, you're too arrogant. The giant python's eyes were filled with anger, and it swung its giant tail. At the top of the sky, an invisible force surged down and blasted toward Chang Shui. Boom! Clang! Chang Shui was suddenly sent flying. Qin Feiyang also vomited mouthfuls of blood. Purple gold dragon blood? The giant python was surprised, but it quickly regained its indifference and said, "In this place, Everything is decided by me. Even if you are a real purple gold divine dragon, you still have to obediently curl up in my territory. Qin Feiyong was shocked. The invisible force just now was not transformed by the giant python's divine power. It was the rule power of the miracle. In other words, this giant python was really the guardian of the miracle, because only the guardian could control the rule power. Qin Feiyong wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and a bitter smile appeared on his face. He never expected that it would alarm the guardian here. The giant python shouted, "I'll give you another warning. Stop reviving immediately, or don't blame me for being rude." Qin Feiyong smiled helplessly, secretly controlling the qi and qi pearl, and the blood and qi dissipated immediately. Chang Shui, who was reviving, immediately dimmed down. This world also gradually returned to its calm state. In the end, Chang Shui fell into the hands of Qin Feiyong. Actually, he really wanted to try and see if the fully revived Chang Shui could compete with the rule power here, but after thinking about it, it was better not to be impulsive. After all, this was a miracle. It was a very unwise choice to compete with the guardian of the miracle and the rule power of the miracle. At least you know what's good for you. Otherwise, I'll directly send you to the second level, or expel you from the miracle. The giant python snorted coldly. Qin Feiyong lowered his posture and cupped his hands. This junior knows his mistake. Please forgive me. The giant python looked at Qin Feiyong and said lightly, "Your attitude is not bad. This time I'll let bygones be bygones, but if there's a next time, I won't be merciful, understand?" Understood. Qin Feiyong nodded. The giant python added, "Also, don't revive that dagger in the future." This, Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows. The power of that dagger has exceeded the limit of the first level of the miracle and will disturb the order here. I won't allow this kind of thing to happen. The giant python said in a tone that brooked no disobedience. All right. Qin Feiyong sighed helplessly. If the giant python didn't appear, he would definitely be able to kill Lu Xingqian this time. What a pity. Then you're on your own. After the giant python finished speaking, it disappeared without a trace in an instant. Swish. After the giant python disappeared, Lu Xingqian appeared in front of Qin Feiyong, looking up at the sky in surprise and asked, "Who was talking just now?" "The guardian of the miracle." Qin Feiyong said. "Guardian?" Lu Xingqian's pupils contracted. Qin Feiyong looked at Lu Xingqian and said, "I just can't figure out why your luck is so good every time." Lu Xingqian retracted his gaze and looked at Qin Feiyong with a smile. This should be the so-called moral quality. Moral quality? Qin Feiyong snorted and said indifferently, "Although I didn't kill you this time, I think your spatial divine item should be about to be scrapped." Lu Xingqian's face darkened. "It seems that you're not convinced." Qin Feiyong smiled. Suddenly, his eyes surged with a cold light, and the ancient castle rushed out from between his eyebrows and smashed toward Lu Xingqian like lightning. Lu Xingqian's expression changed. He turned around and fled, roaring, "Have you forgotten what the guardian said before? Don't revive Chang Shui." Your reaction is quite fast. Qin Feiyong nodded and sneered. That's what it said, but it didn't say that I can't revive the ancient castle. Bastard, are you really going to kill me? Lu Xingqian roared. I'm not the one who wants to kill you. It's you. Qin Feiyong snorted coldly. His qi and blood surged again and rushed toward the ancient castle. Clang! The ancient castle also began to revive. Monstrous black light covered the sky and the moon, emitting a divine power that was not inferior to Chang Shui at all. Lu Xingqian was burning with anxiety. He thought that he had escaped disaster, but he did not expect Qin Feiyong to take out the ancient castle again. Where can you escape to? Qin Feiyong laughed, his blood-red eyes glowing with a dazzling bloody light. What should I do? Go to the spatial divine item? But the spatial divine item has reached its limit. If it takes another hit from the ancient castle, it will be completely destroyed. But if I don't go to the spatial divine item, I won't be able to keep my life. Lu Xingqian's heart was in a mess. He also hated the Golden Wolf King to the core. Because, if the Golden Wolf King had not given the Qi and Blood Pearl to Qin Feiyong would not have been able to revive Chang Shui in the ancient castle. If he could not revive Chang Shui and the ancient castle, Qin Feiyang could not do anything to Lu Xingqian. Bastard, I'll fight you to the death. Lu Xingqian gritted his teeth and waved his hand. A divine consciousness swept out and blasted toward the ancient castle. Upon closer inspection, there were more than 30 divine consciousnesses. Boom, clang, but it was useless. After the ancient castle was revived, it shook its head and obliterated the 30 divine consciousnesses in an instant. Lu Xingqian vomited blood in anger. His body and mind trembled, and his face was as pale as a sheet. Die! Qin Feiyang laughed. The ancient castle cut through the sky and smashed toward Lu Xingqian's head. Chapter 15:13. However, at this moment, a rule force descended from the sky and blasted the ancient castle away. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and looked up at the sky. He immediately saw the giant python that had left before reappear out of thin air. It's you again. The giant python looked at Qin Feiyang with eyes full of anger. Qin Feiyang was also a little annoyed that the giant python had messed up the situation one after another. The giant python shouted, "I've said it just now. If you do it again, I won't let you off easily. Die." Pieces of rule force continued to fall from the sky, exuding a destructive aura. Qin Feiyang said angrily, "Are you blind? Can't you see that I'm using the ancient castle?" The giant python was stunned and looked at the ancient castle with an embarrassed expression. "I didn't expect that a mere combat emperor like you would have so many powerful divine artifacts. You have a problem with that?" Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. "Young man, don't be so rude. If I want to expel you from the divine sight, it's only a matter of thought. It's useless no matter how many divine artifacts you have." The giant python sneered. Qin Feiyang's heart trembled. He pointed at Lu Xingqian and said unhappily, "What about him? Can he use his divine sense?" Divine sense? The giant python was stunned. It looked at Lu Xingqian with a hint of surprise in its eyes. "It's actually a body possession?" Lu Xingqian looked at the giant python and was extremely nervous. The giant python came back to its senses and looked at Qin Feiyang. "This is indeed a loophole in the divine sight, but I can't change it. After all, I'm only a guardian, not a creator. This loophole is not fair at all," Qin Feiyang said. "I'll bear this. Of course, nothing like this has happened before, but you don't have to worry. He only has 3 strands of divine sense left. If all 3 strands of divine sense disappear, he will also die. So in the future, he will definitely not dare to use his divine sense again," the giant python said. "Damn it," Lu Xingqian cursed inwardly. Qin Feiyang's face lit up with joy. How much spiritual sense Lu Xingqian still had remained a mystery. Without knowing this, Qin Feiyang couldn't act freely. After all, the power of divine sense was too strong, so he had no choice but to be wary. But he didn't expect that the giant python would directly expose him. 3 strands of divine sense. In other words, Lu Xingqian had already reached the end of his road. Because to him, 3 strands of divine sense were of no threat at all. Even if he didn't revive Chang Shui and the castle, he could still easily obliterate Lu Xingqian's 3 strands of divine consciousness. Qin Feiyang turned to look at Lu Xingqian and said with a smile, "No wonder you only cared about running for your life. It turns out that you've already exhausted all your tricks." Lu Xingqian's face was gloomy and he didn't say a word. "Even though I don't have much divine sense left, it's still unfair to the others." The giant python lowered its head and muttered. Qin Feiyang and Lu Xingqian raised their heads at the same time and looked at the giant python, waiting for it to continue. "How about this?" A moment later, the giant python looked at Lu Xingqian and said, "For the sake of fairness, from now on, you're not allowed to use divine sense." Lu Xingqian wanted to say something, but he didn't dare to. Qin Feiyang was secretly delighted. Lu Xingqian could be arrogant in front of him for so long because of divine sense. And once he lost his trump card, Lu Xingqian would be an ordinary person without any threat. "Don't think that I'm joking. Everything in the divine relic is under my control. So as long as I'm willing, I can know your every move. If you dare to use divine sense and those two divine items behind my back, I'll let you know that there's always someone better. Humph. After the giant python finished speaking, it snorted and disappeared without a trace. Chang Shui and the ancient castle can't be revived, and I can't use divine sense. Are you satisfied with this result now? Lu Xingqian glared at Qin Feiyang. It doesn't matter to me. The battle formula, kill formula, return formula, and the other divine formulas are enough for me to dominate under the false god realm. As for you, other than divine sense, what else do you have? I'm sure you have divine formulas, but are they as heaven-defying as the kill formula? Without divine sense, what can you do with your cultivation of a 6-star combat emperor? I'm afraid that even the 9-star combat emperors in the Great Qin Empire and the main tower can easily kill you. Qin Feiyang laughed, his face full of sarcasm. Lu Xingqian's face sank. Although Qin Feiyang's words were unpleasant to hear, it was the truth. Without divine sense, he could only hide in a spatial divine item like a coward when he encountered danger. That's right. I think I said just now that whoever escapes is a coward. Should I call you Coward Lu now? Qin Feiyang mocked. Don't be too proud. The good show is yet to come. Lu Xingqian coldly spat out these words before he turned around to leave. Swish. Qin Feiyang took a step forward, leaving behind an afterimage. He grabbed Lu Xingqian's arm and grinned. It wasn't easy to force you to this point. Do you think I'll let you go so easily? Don't go too far. Lu Xingqian's eyes trembled as he shouted. Go too far? Qin Feiyang smiled and waved his hand. An invisible force suddenly roared out. The divine power shook the sky. The fourth style, ultimate end. Lu Xingqian's expression changed. Without any hesitation, he broke his arm and fled into the spatial divine item. Humph! Qin Feiyang snorted coldly. The invisible force blasted toward the place where Lu Xingqian disappeared. With a loud bang, a huge pit suddenly appeared on the ground. Dust and smoke shrouded in all directions. After waiting for the dust to settle, he scanned the huge pit and shouted, I said you're a coward. Do you really think you're a coward? If you're a man, come out immediately and accept my challenge openly. Lu Xingqian stood in the broken spatial divine item and looked at Qin Feiyang outside. His hands were tightly clenched together. Mu Qing was also gnashing her teeth. Xin Mei's expression was a little complicated. If either of them had taken the initiative to take a step back, how could today's situation have happened? Unfortunately, these two people were too arrogant. They didn't want to admit defeat. You want to waste time, right? Then I'll slowly waste time with you. After waiting for a long time, Lu Xingqian did not appear. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly and entered the ancient castle. The Golden Wolf King immediately went up and said fawningly, Boss, you're too awesome. Even the guardians are alarmed. You're simply peerless and invincible. Bootlicker, the white-eyed wolf, the crocodile emperor, and the other beasts rolled their eyes. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, This is all thanks to you. You're too kind. Treasures belong to those who are capable. The Qi and Blood Pearl can only unleash its true power in your hands. The Golden Wolf King smiled flatteringly. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Regardless of this guy's personality, he was really good at flattering. It was very pleasing to listen to. That's enough. The white-eyed wolf pushed the Golden Wolf King away and looked at Qin Feiyang, saying, Little Qinzi, are we really going to waste time with him? We haven't found the viper and the eagle yet. Yes. Now he only has 3 wisps of divine consciousness left. Even if he disobeys the giant python's order, I can easily kill him. Naturally, we have to waste time with him. I don't believe that he can hide forever. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed coldly. He waved his hand and the void image appeared, monitoring Lu Xingqian at all times. As for the viper and the 2-winged snow eagle, Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and said, I'll sense their current location first. After that, he closed his eyes. The white-eyed wolf, Fatso, and the others waited for the image in the void. As soon as Lu Xingqian appeared, they would immediately attack. Dozens of breaths passed. Qin Feiyang finally opened his eyes and said in surprise, The viper, the mountain pangolin, the 2-winged snow eagle, and the black dragon snake have all entered the Bone Canyon. Really? The white-eyed wolf, Fatso, and the others were also overjoyed when they heard this. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. Lu Jing said with a smile, then they will go to the water source sooner or later. Let's go there and wait. Wait, have you forgotten that the Bone Canyon is the territory of the ghost wolves? If they are discovered by the ghost wolves, they will be in danger. Lu Hong suddenly said. Everyone was stunned and looked up at the Golden Wolf King in unison. Why are you looking at me? I'm not in the Bone Canyon now. I don't have the chance to hurt them. The Golden Wolf King pursed his lips. The white-eyed wolf said, You don't have the chance, but what about your little brother? The Golden Wolf King was stunned and shook his head. I don't dare to say this. My little brother has a violent personality. If he sees them, he might really kill them. Hearing this, everyone immediately looked at the Golden Wolf King with bad intentions. The Golden Wolf King panicked and was about to say something. Ling Yunfei suddenly said, Lu Xingqian is out. Everyone in the castle and the beasts immediately turned to look at the screen. Sure enough, they saw Lu Xingqian on the screen. Lu Xingqian looked around and immediately used a mysterious footwork to escape in the southwest direction. Wanna leave? Qin Feiyang sneered. His figure flickered and suddenly appeared outside. Then, he used the phantom steps and chased after him. Now, the kill formula was still active. His speed was many times faster than Lu Xingqian. In a few blinks of an eye, he caught up with Lu Xingqian. I really regret that I didn't kill you before. Lu Xingqian roared. You'll have to have the ability to do so first. As you said, with the Space Divine object, I can't do anything to you. But you can't do anything to me either. Qin Feiyang sneered. Hearing this, Lu Xingqian slammed on the brakes and stopped. He turned to look at Qin Feiyang and said, What do you want? I can let you go, but I have a condition. Leave Mu Qing behind. Qin Feiyang said. It was time to get rid of Mu Qing. Inside the Space Divine object. Hearing Qin Feiyang's words, Mu Qing's face couldn't help but turn pale, and she became nervous. Seeing this, Shunmei comforted her. Don't worry, he won't hand you over to Qin Feiyang. You don't know him at all. If it was any other time, he would definitely protect me. But at this time, he can't even protect himself, let alone me. Mu Qing laughed at herself, but in her heart, she still had some expectations. Chapter 15-14. And now, Mu Qing could only rely on Lu Xingqian. Otherwise, facing such a powerful Qin Feiyang, there was no way for her to survive. Outside, Lu Xingqian lowered his head and remained silent. The scene was dead silent. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, I'm a man of my word. As long as you leave Mu Qing behind, I'll let you leave immediately. Lu Xingqian's eyes flashed. He looked up at Qin Feiyang and said, He's my descendant. Do you think that's possible? Hearing this, Mu Qing finally breathed a sigh of relief. I'm right. Shunmei smiled and said. Mu Qing smiled. She was very happy. It seemed that she did not follow the wrong person. Qin Feiyang was a little disappointed. If Lu Xingqian really abandoned Mu Qing here, then with Mu Qing's personality, she would definitely hate Lu Xingqian. In this way, even if she could not kill Lu Xingqian and Mu Qing now, there would be a gap between the two of them. Over time, this gap would definitely become a factor that would cause them to kill each other. Unfortunately, Lu Xingqian did not do that. Even though Mu Qing was in the divine spatial item, Lu Xingqian did not expect her to be so grateful to him right now. Qin Feiyang sighed and said lightly, In that case, I can only continue to squat. If you have the ability, you can hide in the space artifact for the rest of your life. Lu Xingqian's face was gloomy. He snorted and said, Then let's waste time. Let's see who can last longer. With that, he went straight into the space artifact. Thank you, Lord. Mu Qing hurried to Lu Xingqian and said gratefully. Lu Xingqian waved his hand and smiled. You're my descendant. It's my duty to protect you. What are you thanking me for? Mu Qing was touched and said, What do we do now? Do you really want to waste time with Qin Feiyang? What else? Lu Xingqian's expression was filled with helplessness and a trace of loneliness. Seeing this, Mu Qing immediately felt indignant on behalf of Lu Xingqian. She angrily said, It really is as the saying goes. When a tiger falls to the plains, it will be bullied by dogs. If Master was still in peak condition, would Qin Feiyang be so savage? What's the point of saying all this now? Let's go to the cave and cultivate. In this world, only the fist is the king. A cold light flashed in Lu Xingqian's eyes, and he disappeared with Shan Mei and Mu Qing. Outside, Qin Feiyang looked at the place where Lu Xingqian had disappeared, his eyes filled with coldness. Whoosh! Suddenly, with a wave of his hand, the Golden Wolf King, the White-Eyed Wolf, and the Scorpion King appeared. Qin Feiyang looked around the Scorpion King and said, "The four of you stay here. As long as you see Lu Xingqian appear, kill him without mercy." Understood. The four beasts nodded. Qin Feiyang looked at the Golden Wolf King and the White-Eyed Wolf and said, "The two of you immediately set off to the White Bone Canyon to support Viper and the others." "Okay." The White-Eyed Wolf nodded. "Golden Wolf King, I'm warning you, don't play any tricks. Because no matter how far away you are, I can peek into your inner thoughts. No matter how far away you are, I can erase your soul." Qin Feiyang looked at the Golden Wolf King alone and said coldly, "I wouldn't dare, I wouldn't dare." The Golden Wolf King shook his head repeatedly, his expression full of flattery. "Go." Qin Feiyang waved his hand. The White-Eyed Wolf became palm-sized, jumped up, and stood on the Golden Wolf King's head and shouted, "Let's go. Little wolf cub, how dare you ride on my head? I'll let you know my power sooner or later." A hint of hostility flashed in the Golden Wolf King's eyes, but at the same time, it felt a sharp pain in its head, as if its head was about to split open. What's going on? The Crocodile Emperor was surprised. The White-Eyed Wolf was also confused. Boss Qin, however, the Golden Wolf King quickly looked at Qin Feiyang and immediately realized that Qin Feiyang's eyes were flashing with shocking murderous intent. "The White-Eyed Wolf is my best brother. You have to be as respectful to him as you are to me. If I find out that you have evil thoughts again, I will never forgive you," Qin Feiyang said coldly. "Oh, I see." Hearing Qin Feiyang's words, the Crocodile Emperor, the four beasts, and the White-Eyed Wolf finally understood. "Little wolf cub, it seems that I'm standing on your head is making you unhappy." The White-Eyed Wolf sneered. "No, no." The Golden Wolf King shook his head repeatedly. "You really don't know what's good for you. Didn't you see that we all call him Boss Wolf?" The Crocodile Emperor and the four beasts mocked. When the Golden Wolf King heard it, he thought carefully and realized that it was true. He quickly said, "Boss Wolf, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I won't do it again. Please forgive me." "All right." The White-Eyed Wolf waved his paw and said generously, "I'm not such a petty person. Let's go." "Thank you, Boss Wolf," the Golden Wolf King said gratefully. Then, it ran toward the White Bone Canyon. The Scorpion Emperor retracted his gaze and turned to look at Qin Feiyang. "Boss, we know this White-Eyed Wolf cub. He's a genuine White-Eyed Wolf. You have to be careful." "Yes, yes, yes. This bastard is famous for one thing in front of others and another behind their backs. In short, you can't really trust him," the Crocodile Emperor and the other two beasts also said. Qin Feiyang laughed. "Don't worry, I'll always pay attention to what he's thinking." The Scorpion Emperor nodded and asked doubtfully, "You want us to guard here? Where are you going?" "The water source." Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed as he used the phantom steps and rushed towards the water source like lightning. The last time he was at the water source occupied by the Crocodile Emperor, he obtained 3 Kuei water essence. And the water source here definitely had it. Not long later, he entered the water source. However, when he entered the water source, he was stunned. Why was it so hot? There was no difference between it and other places. This was the water source. Shouldn't it be very cool? And it was indeed very cool. Did he go to the wrong place? He looked around. Although the water source had been destroyed in the battle, he could still determine that this was indeed the water source. But why did the temperature change? Suddenly, his gaze trembled. Could it be that someone had secretly found the Kuei water essence while he and Lu Xingqian were fighting in the valley? Bastard! Who is it? Qin Feiyang's heart was immediately filled with anger. Swoosh! With a thought, Ling Yunfei appeared. "What's wrong?" Ling Yunfei was suspicious. Qin Feiyang said, someone took away the Kuei water essence. Call out the blood-devouring bees immediately. You have to find him even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Ling Yunfei was stunned. His entire body was boiling with anger. With a wave of his hand, a swarm of blood-devouring bees appeared. As soon as they saw Qin Feiyang, those blood-devouring bees became nervous. It was as if they had seen a demon. Qin Feiyang said, search the nearby area immediately. If you find anyone, report to me immediately. Yes. The swarm of bees immediately dispersed and disappeared in all directions. I don't understand. Who dares to play tricks under the noses of you and Lu Xingchen? Ling Yunfei was suspicious. There are always a few people who are not afraid of death. Qin Feiyang sneered. Wait, could it be the Golden Wolf King and the White-Eyed Wolf? They have to pass through here if they want to go to the White Bone Canyon. Ling Yunfei suddenly said. Qin Feiyang was stunned. After pondering for a while, he shook his head and said, it shouldn't be. They just left and I followed. They didn't have time to find the Kuei water essence. Ling Yunfei asked, then what if the Golden Wolf King knows where the Kuei water essence is? Qin Feiyang was stunned. If that was the case, then it might be the White-Eyed Wolf and the Golden Wolf King. Whoosh! At this moment, a golden light rushed over and entered Qin Feiyang and Ling Yunfei's line of sight. It was the Golden Wolf King, and the White-Eyed Wolf was still standing on the Golden Wolf King's head. Qin Feiyang asked, why are you back? Without waiting for the Golden Wolf King and the White-Eyed Wolf to reply, Ling Yunfei asked again, did you take away the Kuei water essence here? No. The White-Eyed Wolf shook his head. No? Qin Feiyang and Ling Yunfei looked at each other, their eyes flashing with a cold light. If it wasn't the White-Eyed Wolf and the Golden Wolf King, then it must be someone else. The White-Eyed Wolf said, when we entered the water source, we found that the temperature had changed. At that time, I suspected that there might be something wrong, so I want to take a look around. Then did you find anything? Qin Feiyang asked. No. Then I saw the blood-devouring bees appear. I knew that you were here, so I rushed over to inform you. The White-Eyed Wolf said. Qin Feiyang frowned and looked at the Golden Wolf King. You don't know where the Kuei water essence is? I don't know. The Golden Wolf King shook his head. Then you didn't look for it? Qin Feiyang said. I did look for it. When I first occupied this place, I looked for it every day, but I couldn't find it. Moreover, it's rare for a divine site to have a water source. I didn't want to destroy it. So later, I slowly gave up. The Golden Wolf King said. Qin Feiyang nodded and waved his hand. We will deal with the matters here. You two go and help Viper and the others. Okay. The two beasts nodded. Just as the Golden Wolf King turned to leave, Qin Feiyang suddenly said, wait, is there anything else? The Golden Wolf King and the White-Eyed Wolf turned to look at him suspiciously. This matter is a little strange. I'm a little worried about the two of you going. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. He looked at Ling Yunfei and said, call Li Jin and Zhou Jing out. The two of them were in Ling Yunfei's spatial divine item, comprehending the profound meaning of godhood. Okay. Ling Yunfei nodded and waved his hand. The two of them immediately appeared. Greetings, young master. The two of them immediately bowed when they saw Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang nodded and said, accompany the White-Eyed Wolf and the Golden Wolf King. Be careful. Yes. The two of them respectfully responded and quickly left with the White-Eyed Wolf and the two beasts. After the two of them disappeared from sight, Qin Feiyang retracted his gaze and lowered his head to ponder. Ling Yunfei also lowered his head, his brows tightly knitted. Boom! All of a sudden, from the east, a series of deafening explosions could be heard. A wave of battle energy surged toward the area. The two of them looked up at the same time, their eyes shining. Let's go. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and turned into a stream of light, rushing towards the east. Ling Yunfei followed closely behind. However, halfway there, the loud noise and fluctuation disappeared. Chapter 15:15. At the same time, the White-Eyed Wolf, The Golden Wolf King and Li Jian had also arrived at the Bone Canyon. However, when they saw the situation in the canyon, their bodies froze and their eyes were filled with shock and horror. The canyon and the mountains on both sides of the canyon were filled with the corpses of ghost wolves. There was no mistake. They were ghost wolves. Countless ghost wolves were lying on the ground, lifeless. Furthermore, their flesh and blood seemed to have been sucked dry, leaving only skin and bones. How could this be? The white-eyed wolf murmured. Who did this? The Golden Wolf King roared and charged into the canyon with a murderous aura. Everywhere he passed, there were corpses. It was like azure hell, and one could not help but feel their scalps tingle. Who could be so cruel? To suck their flesh and blood dry. Li Jian mumbled. Wait a minute. Zhou Zheng suddenly said, as though he had thought of something. The white-eyed wolf and Li Jian turned and looked at Zhou Zheng suspiciously. The Golden Wolf King was in grief and could not extricate itself. Zhou Zheng swept his gaze across the corpses of the ghost wolves and said, Did you guys notice that their deaths are very similar to the deaths of the Ant Queen and the Spider Emperor? The white-eyed wolf and Li Jian were stunned as they turned to size up the corpses. I remember that the Ant Queen and the Spider Emperor said that their tribesmen were sucked dry and died. And now, the ghost wolves are the same. Could this be a coincidence? Zhou Zheng murmured. The white-eyed wolf said in surprise, Do you mean that the culprit is Zhuge Mingyang? Zhou Zheng nodded. No. Have you forgotten? Zhuge Mingyang has already been chopped into pieces. How can it be him? The white-eyed wolf shook his head. That's right. How can someone who has already been chopped into pieces come out to stir up trouble? Li Jian added. Apart from Zhuge Mingyang, who else could have such means? Zhou Zheng frowned and was also puzzled. No matter who it is, I will not let him off easily. The Golden Wolf King roared angrily. He shook off the white-eyed wolf and ran into the depths of the canyon alone. What should we do? Li Jian and the other man looked at the white-eyed wolf. The white-eyed wolf pondered for a while and looked at Li Jian. The Golden Wolf pup has gone crazy. We can't let it run around alone. Zhou Zheng and I will follow it and take a look. While we're at it, let's see if we can find any survivors. And you, immediately go and inform little Qinzi about the situation here. I'll leave an X sign along the way so that you and little Qinzi can find it. After saying that, the white-eyed wolf jumped onto Zhou Zheng's shoulder. Zhou Zheng immediately chased after the Golden Wolf King with the white-eyed wolf. Li Jian glanced at the backs of White-Eyed Wolf and Zhou Zheng before turning around to return. Let's talk about Qin Feiyang and Ling Yunfei. At this moment, the two stood side by side on a mountain ridge, looking at the ground in front of them. Their eyes were full of murderous intent. The ground in front of them was broken and dyed red with blood. Blood-devouring bees were lying in pools of blood. Some were torn apart. Some had their heads smashed. In short, they all died very miserably. The two jumped down from the mountain ridge and walked step by step in the blood. In the end, they didn't find any survivors. It was estimated that at least 2,000 or 3,000 blood-devouring bees had died here. Who is it? Come out. Ling Yunfei roared to the sky. His long purple hair danced in the air, and his murderous intent shook the sky. Boom. Suddenly, another loud noise came from a place 100 miles to the left. The ripples of a battle could be felt. Qin Feiyang and Ling Yunfei looked at each other and hurried over. But before they arrived, the loud noise and the wave disappeared again. When the two arrived, they saw the corpses of blood-devouring bees all over the ground again. Bastard! Don't hide if you have the guts. Come out and fight with me. Ling Yunfei roared. However, there was no response. From the beginning to the end, Qin Feiyang did not speak. But suddenly, his gaze trembled. He turned to look at Ling Yunfei and shouted, Call back all the blood-devouring bees. What? Ling Yunfei was surprised. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice, This person should be trying to kill all the blood-devouring bees one by one. Ling Yunfei's body shook and he roared, All the blood-devouring bees, come here and meet me immediately. His voice was like a bell, resounding through the sky. For a moment, blood-devouring bees from all directions followed Ling Yunfei's voice and rushed over. As expected of Qin Feiyang, You saw through my purpose so quickly. At the same time, a cruel laughter sounded from behind a mountain peak not far away. It was like a devil laughing sinisterly. It was incomparably terrifying. This voice, Qin Feiyong and Lu Xingchen looked at each other, their eyes filled with disbelief. Immediately after, Qin Feiyong's eyes surged with a cold light. He raised his arm and pointed in the air. Boom! An invisible force emerged and rushed towards the mountain peak like a huge wave. Accompanied by a loud bang, the mountain peak disintegrated instantly and dust covered the sky. Qin Feiyong waved his hand again. A gust of wind rose and the dust was quickly blown away. Just as the dust dissipated, Qin Feiyong caught sight of a blood-red figure fleeing into the distance. Wait for the blood-devouring bees here. I'll chase after it. Qin Feiyong left behind a sentence and used phantom steps to chase after it. Keep it alive. Ling Yunfei roared behind him. Got it. Qin Feiyong nodded, his gaze locked onto the blood-red figure. The two of them chased and entered a huge mountain and disappeared. Over here. The blood-devouring bees returned one after another. Ling Yunfei sent the spatial divine items one by one. Just as Ling Yunfei was about to chase after Qin Feiyong, Li Jian rushed over. When Ling Yunfei saw Li Jian, he was slightly stunned and asked suspiciously, "Why are you back? Where are the white-eyed wolf and the others?" "There was an emergency," Li Jian said in a deep voice, then asked, "What's going on over here? I seem to have heard your angry roar just now." "Someone wants to kill the blood-devouring bees. But we've already discovered it. Qin Feiyong has also chased after it." "What's the emergency on your side?" Ling Yunfei frowned. What an eventful autumn. Li Jian sighed deeply and briefly explained the situation of the ghost wolf. "What?" Ling Yunfei's expression changed and he muttered. "It wasn't an illusion just now? He's really not dead." "What do you mean?" Li Jian heard this and looked at Ling Yunfei in surprise. "Just now, Qin Feiyong and I both heard that person's voice. Do you know who the owner of that voice is?" "It's Zhuge Mingyang," Ling Yunfei said in a deep voice. "This?" Li Jian was stunned and said in shock and anger. "How is this possible?" At that time, the Spider Emperor cut him into 8 pieces. That's why I thought I was hallucinating at first. But after hearing about the situation of the ghost wolf, I can basically conclude that this Zhuge Mingyang is still alive. Damn it, how did he do it? Could it be that the Zhuge Mingyang we killed before was just his substitute? Ling Yunfei rubbed his forehead, feeling extremely irritated. Li Jian's brows were also tightly knitted. "Let's go. Let's find Qin Feiyong first," Ling Yunfei said. "What about the Golden Wolf King and the others?" Li Jian was stunned and asked. "Since Zhuge Mingyang is here, there shouldn't be any danger over there. Wait until we find Qin Feiyong, then we'll dare to meet up with them," Ling Yunfei said. Li Jian nodded. Immediately, the two of them took a mysterious step and rushed in the direction where Qin Feiyong disappeared. At the same time, Qin Feiyong and the blood-red figure entered a large canyon one after another. The distance between the two of them had been shortened by a large margin. Qin Feiyong shouted, "You're only a 9-star war emperor, and I'm at the peak realm. You won't be able to escape." "Since I can't escape, then I won't." The blood-red figure chuckled and stopped on a huge rock in the canyon. With his back facing Qin Feiyong, he gave off a strange sense of mystery. Qin Feiyong jumped up and landed on another huge rock. He looked at the blood-red figure and said, "Turn around. I want to see if it's you." "What do you think?" The blood-red figure smiled playfully. "Don't play tricks." Qin Feiyong's eyes turned cold. He raised his hand and a red sword chi surged out, turning into 2 sword shadows and slashing toward the blood-red figure. Hee. The blood-red figure still did not turn around, but the battle chi in his body roared out. Roar. In the next moment, an azure dragon appeared above the blood-red figure. A vast dragon's aura rolled in all directions. Following closely, the azure dragon opened his eyes and 2 brilliant divine lights burst out, carrying a destructive aura as they swept toward the sword shadows. Clang. Boom. Accompanied by 2 loud sounds, the 2 sword shadows were instantly annihilated. Qin Feiyang's face turned slightly pale. He glanced at the azure dragon, then stared at the blood-red figure, and said gloomily, "Azure Dragon's secret art? It's really you? Haha." The blood-red figure suddenly laughed out loud. He slowly turned around. A familiar face gradually entered Qin Feiyang's line of sight. Who else could it be but Zhuge Mingyang? Qin Feiyang looked at Zhuge Mingyang's face and said in disbelief, "Why aren't you dead?" "Haha, I like to see that confused look on your face." Zhuge Mingyang laughed. Qin Feiyang clenched his fists. "Do you still remember what I said to you back then? It's you who made me who I am. If it wasn't for you, there wouldn't be the current me." Zhuge Mingyang said with a trace of gratitude in his eyes. Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered. When he was kidnapping the Fire Qilin, Zhuge Mingyang had indeed said such a thing. "My cultivation base is the best proof," Zhuge Mingyang said again, his expression full of pride. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. What puzzled him was Zhuge Mingyang's cultivation. When he first entered the Divine Ruins, Zhuge Mingyang was only a 3-star war emperor. Then, all of a sudden, he soared to a 7-star war emperor. Now, he had actually soared to a 9-star war emperor. Even if Zhuge Mingyang was in the Divine Ruins and obtained some divine pills and miraculous medicine, it wouldn't be so exaggerated. Is your mind a mess right now? However, I won't tell you the answer. You can slowly think about it yourself. Zhuge Mingyang had his hands behind his back, his face full of ridicule. Whiz. At this moment, Ling Yunfei and Li Jian finally rushed over. When they saw Zhuge Mingyang's face, their faces were instantly filled with disbelief. Chapter 15-16. Ling Yunfei said, "Could it be that the one we killed before was really your substitute?" "Substitute?" Zhuge Mingyang was taken aback, then laughed out loud, filled with sarcasm. "Seems like it's not. But how is that possible? To be able to come back to life after being cut into pieces, could it be that you have an immortal body?" Li Jian was surprised. That's right. You're much smarter than Qin Feiyang. I have an immortal body. No matter how you kill me, I won't die." Zhuge Mingyang laughed wildly. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed coldly. "No matter how we kill you, you won't die?" "That's right. If you don't believe me, you can try." Zhuge Mingyang looked at him provocatively. "All right, I'll try." Qin Feiyang took a step forward and raised his hand. His battle chi surged as he slapped towards Zhuge Mingyang's head. Seeing this, Zhuge Mingyang, who was still showing off his strength a moment ago, suddenly changed his expression and retreated like lightning. "Isn't it an immortal body? Why are you running?" Qin Feiyang snorted coldly. Stepping out with phantom steps, he caught up with Zhuge Mingyang. His 5 outstretched fingers bent, like an eagle's claw, and grabbed Zhuge Mingyang's head. "Don't kill me." Zhuge Mingyang's face turned pale. "So it's just a paper tiger." Ling Yunfei sneered. Li Jian said, "Don't say. I almost believed his nonsense and thought that he had an immortal body." Immortal body? How can it be so simple? Look at Boss. Even after fusing with the fire of life and the purple gold dragon blood, he doesn't dare to say that he has an immortal body, let alone him. Ling Yunfei sneered, his face full of disdain. Is that so? However, at this moment, Zhuge Mingyang glanced at Ling Yunfei. The previous fear and panic had disappeared, replaced by a sneer. What's going on? Ling Yunfei was surprised. He could still laugh at this time? Could it be that he really had something to rely on? Zhuge Mingyang no longer paid attention to Ling Yunfei. He looked at Qin Feiyang and laughed. "Qin Feiyang, you'll never be able to kill me, do you understand? Then, you'll be dead." Killing intent surged in Qin Feiyang's eyes as he exerted force with his big hand. Zhuge Mingyang's head instantly split into pieces. But there was no blood. "Qin Feiyang, the current me is no longer the same as before. Just wait for despair." They Zhuge, Golden Wolf King. Seriously, Golden Wolf King, just as his head was about to shatter, Zhuge Mingyang's body actually collapsed and turned into spiritual qi, dissipating into the air. In the end, there was nothing left. There was only a wild laughter that echoed between heaven and earth. not dissipating for a long time. What's going on? Ling Yunfei and Zhuge were furious. Qin Feiyang scanned the void and said in a deep voice, "It should be an incarnation or a clone." Clone. Their eyes trembled. If there was a clone, there would be a real body. If the clone was destroyed, then what about the real body? Suddenly, the two remembered Zhuge Mingyang's last words. White-eyed wolf, Zhuge Zhe, Golden Wolf King, were in danger. Could it be? Ling Yunfei's face suddenly changed. He turned to look at Li Jian and shouted, "This clone is just a bait. Zhuge Mingyang's real target is the white-eyed wolf and the others. Quickly take us to them." Heard it. Li Jian's expression also changed. He immediately nodded and rushed towards the White Bone Canyon. Ling Yunfei looked at Qin Feiyang and urged, "Boss, let's go." Qin Feiyang frowned and quickly caught up with Li Jian with Ling Yunfei. He asked, "Where are the white-eyed wolf and the others now?" Li Jian told Qin Feiyang about the situation in the White Bone Canyon. "What? All the white-eyed wolves are dead? And like the Ant Emperor and the Spider Emperor's clansmen, they were sucked dry and died?" Qin Feiyang was shocked. "If that's the case, then I'm sure Zhuge Mingyang's clone is only here to tempt us. His real body must be hiding in the White Bone Canyon, waiting for an opportunity to kill the white-eyed wolf and the others." Ling Yunfei said in a deep voice, "It's really a centipede, dead but not stiff." Qin Feiyang's face was gloomy. With a wave of his hand, he swept up Li Jian and used the phantom steps. Soon, they entered the White Bone Canyon. Li Jian said, "Brother Wolf said that there will be an X sign along the way. Pay attention." Qin Feiyang and Ling Yunfei nodded and scanned the rocks on the road. Soon, they saw an eye-catching X sign on a rock that was as tall as a person, and beside the sign, there was an arrow symbol that pointed to the depths of the canyon. "The Golden Wolf King is a little impulsive." Ling Yunfei sighed. "It's not his fault. Almost the entire clan was wiped out. If it were anyone else, they would go crazy." Qin Feiyang said, "Boom." Suddenly, in the distance, there was a deafening sound. Not long after, a wave of battle waves rolled over. "There's a battle. Could it be the white-eyed wolf and the others?" Ling Yunfei was bewildered. Qin Feiyang carefully sensed the battle waves, and a sharp light flashed across his eyes, and he said, "It's the aura of the Golden Wolf King, Zhou Zheng and Zhuge Mingyang. They have already started fighting. Damn it, there's indeed an ambush here." Ling Yunfei's hair stood on end as he shouted, "Faster! This is already my limit. How can I be faster?" Qin Feiyang said with a gloomy face. He was also extremely worried in his heart. The three of them moved as fast as lightning. As they got closer, their auras became more and more obvious. They could even clearly sense that the auras of the Golden Wolf King and Zhou Zheng were gradually weakening. What's going on? The Golden Wolf King and Zhou Zheng are both super experts at the peak of the 9-star War Emperor realm. Why can't they beat a Zhuge Mingyang? Ling Yunfei frowned. Qin Feiyang said in a low voice, "Carefully sense it again." Ling Yunfei heard this and closed his eyes to sense for a moment. He suddenly opened his eyes and said in shock, "There's divine power. It's a divine art." That's right. Zhuge Mingyang has a divine art. Since his doppelganger has the cultivation of a 9-star War Emperor, then his original body must also have the cultivation of a 9-star War Emperor. Although Zhou Zheng and the Golden Wolf King have the advantage in terms of cultivation, Zhuge Mingyang's divine art is enough to turn the situation around. Qin Feiyang said, "That makes sense. If the Golden Wolf King has the divine bow and the blood pearl, then he definitely won't be afraid of Zhuge Mingyang. But now," Li Jian sighed deeply, "without the divine bow and the blood pearl, the Golden Wolf King was equivalent to a poisonous snake without fangs. He was no different from an ordinary 9-star War Emperor realm peak." Boom. Suddenly, another loud explosion shook the heavens and the earth. Qin Feiyang and the other two were bewildered. This loud explosion was exceptionally loud, as if the sky had collapsed. Woo-woo. Whoosh. In a short while, a destructive wave flooded the sky and surged toward them. Accompanying it were tornadoes and storms that swept across the heavens and the earth, destroying everything. This is Qin Feiyang and the other two's expressions changed drastically. This was the aura of self-destruction. Damn it, who self-destructed? Zhou Zheng, the white-eyed wolf? And Zhuge Mingyang? Ling Yunfei roared. Qin Feiyang was silent. He led Ling Yunfei and Li Jian straight into the storm and swept toward the center of the explosion. About 10 breaths passed. Suddenly, a golden figure appeared in the dust ahead. It's the Golden Wolf King. Li Jian was pleasantly surprised. Qin Feiyang was also overjoyed. He hurried forward, only to see the Golden Wolf King covered in blood and flesh. His aura was also extremely weak. The white-eyed wolf was lying on his back. The wounds on his body were so deep that his bones could be seen. His eyes were closed and he was motionless. The Golden Wolf King used his battle chi to imprison him to prevent him from falling off his back. At the same time, he was also protecting him. Qin Feiyang asked, "Are you all right?" "I'm not dead yet. Boss Wolf is only seriously injured and unconscious." But Zhou Zheng, the Golden Wolf King, lowered his head as he said this. His bloodshot eyes were filled with self-blame. Qin Feiyang suddenly had an uneasy premonition. What happened to Zhou Zheng? Li Jian grabbed the Golden Wolf King and asked. Zhuge Mingyang is too strong. Even when Zhou Zheng and I joined forces, we were still no match for him. In order to help Boss Wolf and me escape, he self-destructed his body. It's all my fault. If I hadn't lost my mind and insisted on running into the canyon, he wouldn't have died. Boss Qin, just hit me and scold me, the Golden Wolf King said in pain. Damn it, Zhuge Mingyang, I'm going to kill you. Li Jian was instantly enraged and rushed towards the center of the explosion. Stop him. Qin Feiyang quickly looked at Ling Yunfei and shouted. Ling Yunfei took a step forward and grabbed Li Jian's arm. He shouted, Zhou Zheng is a peak 9-star combat emperor. The destructive power of his self-destruction is enough to destroy any living being below the pseudo-god realm. If you rush in now, you will die. I don't care. Even if I die, I will kill him and avenge Zhou Zheng. Li Jian roared. Qin Feiyang looked at Li Jian and waved his hand. He sent the white-eyed wolf and the Golden Wolf King to the ancient castle. Then, he walked in front of Li Jian and slapped him. Young master, you. Li Jian looked at Qin Feiyang in disbelief. What did he do? Why did he slap him? Was it wrong to avenge one's companion? Have you calmed down? Qin Feiyang said with a gloomy face. Looking at Qin Feiyang's eyes, Li Jian's heart was immediately filled with fear. Zhou Zheng's death must be avenged, but what's the use of rushing and recklessly like you? It will only add one more sacrifice, Qin Feiyang said. Li Jian shuddered and said, I'm sorry, young master. I was too impulsive and didn't think of the consequences. Don't say sorry. I don't need it. I just want you to remember one thing. Now, your life is mine. Without my permission, you are not allowed to die. Qin Feiyang said. Yes. Li Jian replied respectfully. He was very touched. Although Qin Feiyang's attitude and tone were very strong, he could clearly feel the concern in his words. That's enough. Go to the ancient castle to hide. I will go find Zhuge Mingyang. When I find him, I will let you send him to hell with your own hands. Qin Feiyang said. Okay. Li Jian nodded. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. After sending Ling Yunfei and Li Jian to the ancient castle, he looked up at the center of the explosion. Zhuge Mingyang, I want to see how tough your life is. Chapter 15-17. At the same time, there was dead silence in the ancient castle. Lu Hong squatted on the ground and wiped the blood off the white-eyed wolf's body with a handkerchief. Li Jian stood aside with his hands clenched and his eyes red. As for the Golden Wolf King, he stood silently at the side, still blaming himself. After the white-eyed wolf's condition stabilized, Ling Yunfei looked at Li Jian and asked suspiciously, Are you close to Zhou Zheng? Yes. We grew up together, entered the divine hall together, and became law enforcers together. We supported each other all the way. Although we were not biological brothers, our relationship was better than that. I didn't expect him to leave just like that. Li Jian squatted on the ground in pain, and tears streamed down his face. It was said that men did not cry easily, but Li Jian cried in front of everyone. It was obvious how close he was to Zhou Zhang. Ling Yunfei patted him on the shoulder to comfort him. But when the Golden Wolf King heard Li Jian's words, he blamed himself even more. He walked up to Li Jian and said, "I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. It's okay. It's not your fault. If Zhuge Mingying hadn't killed your people, you wouldn't have lost your mind. So, it's all Zhuge Mingying's fault." Li Jian said with a murderous look. "That's right. We must kill him." The Golden Wolf King also nodded. They had a common enemy. "By the way, Li Jian, didn't you follow the state preceptor before? Then do you know why Zhuge Mingying can come back from the dead again and again?" Ling Yunfei looked at Li Jian and asked, "I don't know. It's such an important thing. Zhuge Mingying and the state preceptor can't tell me." Li Jian shook his head. Ling Yunfei couldn't help but feel disappointed when he heard this. Then, he lowered his head and pondered. What was going on? Lu Hong and the others were also thinking about this question. Outside, Qin Feiyang had also entered the center of the explosion. The wind howled and the air billowed. Qin Feiyang stood beside a deep pit. His blood-red hair danced wildly in the wind. His entire body was suffused with a thick sense of sorrow. This pit was extremely large and deep. From afar, it looked like the bottom of a huge basin. Zhou Zheng's aura lingered in the air above the pit. It was very strong. Obviously, Zhou Zhang had self-destructed here. This pit was also formed by his self-detonation. Apart from this pit, nothing else was left. "You won't die so unjustly. I'll make him come down and bury him with you." Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with killing intent. He closed his eyes and tried to sense Zhuge Mingying's aura. A moment later, he opened his eyes, and a trace of bewilderment crept into his eyes. Zhuge Mingying's aura had actually disappeared? Could it be, had Zhuge Mingying been killed by Zhou Zheng's self-destruction? If that was the case, it would be too easy for him. "Qin Feiyang, I'm over here. If you want to kill me to avenge Zhou Zhang, hurry up and follow me." But suddenly, a loud laughter filled with provocation came from afar. The voice came from the northeast. It was Zhuge Mingying. "It's good that you're not dead." Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. He turned around and used phantom steps to rush toward the northeast. However, when he swept through the dust, there was no trace of Zhuge Mingying at all. "Come on, catch up with me, and I'll let you avenge Zhou Zhang." Zhuge Mingying's voice came again. He was already very far away from where Qin Feiyang was. So fast? Qin Feiyang was shocked. Previously, the distance between them should only be about 500 to 600 miles. However, in just a short while, the distance between them had increased by more than 1,000 miles. "Hurry up. I've been waiting here for so long that even the flowers have withered." Zhuge Mingying's arrogant voice sounded again. Qin Feiyang's eyes surged with cold light. He used phantom steps and rushed in the direction of the voice. However, in his heart, he was still puzzled. Zhuge Mingying was only a 9-star combat emperor. How could he be so fast? Could it be that he had already stepped into the peak realm? No. Even if Zhuge Mingying had stepped into the peak realm, his speed should be the same as his. With a stomach full of doubts, he jumped onto a mountain ridge and saw a figure standing proudly on top of a giant peak dozens of miles away. Who else could it be but Zhuge Mingying? He had his hands behind his back like a king, looking down at Qin Feiyang from afar. At the same time, looking at Zhuge Mingying, Qin Feiyang's pupils contracted slightly. Zhuge Mingying's long hair had turned gray and fluttered in the wind. His body was surrounded by wisps of gray and white flames. Moreover, the flames were filled with the aura of death. It felt as if Zhuge Mingying was possessed by the god of death. He gave off a great sense of danger. "You rushed over immediately after killing my doppelganger. Unfortunately, you were still one step too late. Although it's a pity that I couldn't kill the white-eyed wolf and the golden wolf king, it's still worth it to be able to kill Zhou Zhang." Zhuge Mingying laughed. His body and face were stained with blood. He looked like a demon. Qin Feiyang's face darkened and said, "What happened to you?" "A lot of things happened, but it's all thanks to you." "Tell me, how should I thank you?" "I think I have to kill all the people and dire beasts around you to express my gratitude to you." Zhuge Mingyang laughed. Qin Feiyong clenched his fists. However, he was extremely puzzled. Zhuge Mingyang's current cultivation was indeed only a 9-star combat emperor. However, how could he be so fast? Moreover, after Zhou Zheng's self-destruction, he didn't even suffer any injuries. Do you still remember the past? I was known as the #1 monster in the Great Qin Empire. However, because of your appearance, I lost this honor. At that time, I swore that I would take it back. Now, I believe that I have the ability to do so. What about you? I want to ask you, do you have the confidence to keep your title as the #1 monster? Zhuge Mingyang laughed, and his face was full of contempt. I didn't care about the title of the #1 monster. However, since you said so, I'll tell you that I'm going to take it. Listen carefully, it's forever. Qin Feiyong laughed. Forever? Zhuge Mingyang murmured and suddenly became furious. He roared. Who are you to say forever? Do you have the right to say that? Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, a waning moon and sun rose into the sky, and their divine aura shook the heavens. It was the first and second forms of the moon eclipse, crescent moon and sun eclipse. However, Zhuge Mingyang's crescent moon and sun eclipse had turned grayish-white. A strong aura of death shrouded the surroundings. How is this possible? Qin Feiyong's eyes trembled as he realized that the blood in his body was flowing away. I'm going to kill you and take your head. I'll let the world know that I, Zhuge Mingyang, am the true prodigy of the Great Qin Empire. No, a mere Great Qin Empire is no longer worthy of my attention. I'm going to be the #1 in the entire universe. All of those geniuses will become dead souls under my feet. Zhuge Mingyang roared as the crescent moon and sun eclipse shook the sky and blasted towards Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong was even more bewildered. This was because he felt that the closer the crescent moon and sun eclipse were to him, the faster the blood in his body was flowing away. What was going on? However, he didn't have time to think about it. The crescent moon and sun eclipse had already arrived. Qin Feiyong waved his hand, and his flaming battle chi surged. He also formed the crescent moon and sun eclipse to meet the attack. You really deserve to die. The moon eclipse was created by my Zhuge family's ancestor. What right do you have to use it? Zhuge Mingyang roared as his expression became crazier. What right do I have? Just because you're a subject. Is that enough? Qin Feiyong sneered. A subject? Haha, don't be anxious. Once I leave the divine sight, I'll immediately destroy the Great Qin Empire. At that time, I'll be the emperor of the Great Qin Empire, and you will eventually become a slave of a fallen country. You won't even have the right to be a subject. Zhuge Mingyang laughed wildly. I'm afraid you won't have the chance to walk out of the divine sight. Qin Feiyong said. Rumble. The two crescent moons and sun eclipse collided with each other. Heaven and earth lost their color at this moment. Mountains collapsed and the earth sank. Black abyss after black abyss, accompanied by deafening rumbles, spread out in all directions with the place where the two of them were at the center. Finally, under Qin Feiyong's incredulous gaze, the two crescent moons and sun eclipse actually collapsed at the same time, destroying everything. How is this possible? One had to know. His current cultivation was at the peak of the 9-star combat emperor realm, and Zhuge Mingyang was just an ordinary 9-star combat emperor. It was the same deity art, but they were of different cultivation levels. Yet, they were evenly matched, and it ended in a draw. Qin Feiyong found it hard to accept this result. Surprised? Surprised? This is all thanks to you. Zhuge Mingyang chuckled, raised his arm, and opened his palm. Wisps of grayish-white flames rose from his palm. Qin Feiyong looked at the flames and realized that they were condensed from battle chi. It's all thanks to you that my battle chi can transform. However, the power of my current battle chi is 1 level greater than that of all of your battle chis. That's not right. Not only battle chi, but also strength and physical strength. They are 1 level stronger than all of you. This is why, although I'm 1 level lower than you, I can still fight you to a draw. Zhuge Mingyang laughed. Transformation? Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows. What kind of transformation was this? To make Zhuge Mingyang so terrifying? Actually, Zhuge Mingyang's transformation could no longer be described as a rebirth. It was as if he was a completely different person. Wait, a completely different person? Could it be that Zhuge Mingyang had really been possessed? Although Lu Xingqian had denied it, what if he had a trick up his sleeve? Even if it wasn't Lu Xingqian, it could be someone else. After all, anything could exist in this miracle. Roar! Just as Qin Feiyang was distracted, a loud dragon roar resounded through the world. Chapter 15:18. The dragon was over 1,000 feet long, and its body was grayish-white. It was surrounded by flames and emitted a powerful dragon aura. This is your fighting soul? Qin Feiyang was surprised. That's right. Zhuge Mingyang nodded. Qin Feiyang was in disbelief. Even his fighting soul was different from before. Zhuge Mingyang's fighting soul used to be the Azure Dragon. Now, the fighting soul in front of him was like the incarnation of the Grim Reaper, and it was filled with the aura of death. Destroy! Zhuge Mingyang shouted. An invisible force roared in all directions. When it shrouded Qin Feiyang's cultivation level dropped by a small realm. Fortunately, the power of this superpower has not changed. Qin Feiyang mumbled. Is that so? Zhuge Mingyang grinned. Before he could finish his words, Qin Feiyang's cultivation level dropped again, and he fell to an 8-star combat emperor. Qin Feiyang was dumbfounded. In the past, Zhuge Mingyang's superpower could only cause one's cultivation level to drop by a small realm. Now, it could cause one's cultivation level to drop by 2 small realms. Everything is transforming, Yifutian said. Haha, do you feel despair? Zhuge Mingyang laughed and took a step forward. He appeared in front of Qin Feiyang at lightning speed and hit Qin Feiyang's chest with his palm. Clang! With this palm, Qin Feiyang was sent flying, and he crashed into the ground far away. A sinkhole appeared. Qin Feiyang was lying in it. His hair was messy and his face was dirty. Blood was flowing out of his mouth. His chest was caved in and many of his bones were broken. He was badly mutilated. Is this all you've got? The Qin Feiyang that I know is not only this. Zhuge Mingyang laughed and his grayish-white hair danced in the air. He looked like a celestial demon and he was arrogant. My strength. Qin Feiyang slowly got up and the coldness in his eyes became stronger. Without being able to use Chang Shui and the ancient castle, Qin Feiyang is just a worthless dog. Zhuge Mingyang shouted, and the 3 moves of the Azure Dragon's secret art appeared. It carried an explosive aura and attacked Qin Feiyang. What? How do you know that I cannot use Chang Shui and the ancient castle? Qin Feiyang was shocked. When the Guardian appeared, my avatar was not far away. He saw it with his own eyes. Zhuge Mingyang's celestial clones, Qin Feiyang murmured, as he abruptly raised his head to look at the 3rd style of the Azure Dragon's secret art. He had seen these 3 moves more than once. The first move, Dragon Roaring in the Heavens. The 2nd style, Azure Dragon's Eye. The 3rd style, Azure Dragon's Celestial Phenomenon. Although the power of the 3 moves was stronger than before, Qin Xian still did not take them seriously. It was far from enough to kill Qin Feiyang with just this bit of strength. Chirp! Flaming battle chi surged. The first 3 moves of the Fire Phoenix secret art appeared first. Phoenix Cry, Fire Phoenix Seal, King of all spirits, Divine Might shook the sky. The 3 divine arts roared in the sky and clashed with the 3 moves of the Azure Dragon's secret art. The world suddenly lost its color. The night sky within a few thousand miles was dyed with the light of fire. Boom! Crack! In less than 3 breaths, the 3 moves of the Azure Dragon's secret art collapsed and turned into specks of light that dissipated into the world. No matter how much you've changed, I, Qin Feiyang, will still be the king, and you will still be my defeated opponent. This is fate. Yes, you've worked hard, but you've found the wrong target. If it was someone else today, you would definitely be proud of yourself. Unfortunately, you won't have the chance. Qin Feiyang's eyes were filled with murderous intent as he executed the phantom steps and activated the battle technique. His battle intent soared into the sky as he charged toward Zhuge Mingyang. His blood-red hair swayed in the wind. His clothes fluttered. It was as if the god of battle had descended. king? Defeated opponent? What makes you say that? I don't believe you can keep suppressing me. I don't believe in fate either. Zhuge Mingyang let out a roar like a wild beast. His eyes were bloodshot as he charged forward and fought with Qin Feiyang. Bang, bang, bang. Boom. The moment their fists and feet collided, waves of destructive air waves surged out in all directions like mountains and seas. How is this possible? Gradually, Zhuge Mingyang wore a look of disbelief. One had to know. He now possessed the cultivation of a 9-star battle monarch, while Qin Feiyang was only an 8-star battle monarch. Moreover, whether it was his battle chi or his physical strength, they were all far stronger than before. It could be said that the power of his punch was comparable to a 9-star battle monarch at the peak state. However, at this moment, Qin Feiyang was not at a disadvantage when facing him. The battle was still going on. Qin Feiyang's aura was like a rainbow. The more he killed, the fiercer he became. Zhuge Mingyang gradually began to feel powerless. There were more and more wounds on his body. Blood splattered and dyed the ground red. I said that no matter how much you transform, you can't escape the fate of being defeated. Qin Feiyang, who had the battle technique, was like a demon. The power of each punch was unleashed to the extreme. Boom. Suddenly, he punched Zhuge Mingyang in the chest. Zhuge Mingyang screamed and flew out on the spot. His chest cracked and his heart shattered. Blood gushed out like a waterfall. Boom. Finally, he was like a meteorite, smashing into the depths of the earth. He was dizzy and his bones were about to fall apart. Is the battle technique so heaven-defying? Looking at the godlike Qin Feiyang approaching step by step, Zhuge Mingyang was in a daze as he muttered to himself, "Qin Feiyang, I refuse to accept this." He suddenly stood up and let out a long roar. Eclipse, mystic moon, dragon roaring in the 9th heaven, azure dragon eye, azure dragon celestial phenomenon. The 5 divine arts appeared together. Be destroyed for me. Zhuge Mingyang was furious. With the 5 divine arts, he charged towards Qin Feiyang. The terrifying divine power swept across the sky. But for this, Qin Feiyang's expression did not change. The one who should be destroyed is you. Qin Feiyang raised his hand and waved. Golden light burst out from his palm and flooded the sky. Boom! Accompanied by an earth-shaking loud sound, the 5 divine arts rotated in the air and instantly drowned Zhuge Mingyang. Ah! Screams resounded through the sky. In the blink of an eye, Zhuge Mingyang's clothes were torn into pieces. 2 arms exploded. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere. The skin all over his body cracked inch by inch and blood gushed out. The bloody wounds were so deep that bones could be seen. Finally, his whole body was submerged in the mud and his screams slowly subsided. But Qin Feiyang did not let Zhuge Mingyang go so easily. With a wave of his hand, the mud flew up and Zhuge Mingyang appeared in his line of sight. At this moment, Zhuge Mingyang's body was not intact. His whole body was covered in mud and mixed with blood. However, he was not dead. He turned over with difficulty and laid on the ground, staring at Qin Feiyang with hatred. Qin Feiyang's mind moved and closed the battle formula. He looked down at Zhuge Mingyang and said indifferently, "Sometimes you have to believe in fate." Haha, ridiculous fate. Just give up. I will not admit defeat. One day, you will die in my hands, including the people around you and those beasts. Zhuge Mingyang laughed like a demon, his expression incomparably ferocious. You won't have another chance. Qin Feiyang shook his head, his expression incomparably cold. With that, he waved his hand and took away Zhuge Mingyang's Qinkuan back. Then, Li Jian appeared beside him. As soon as he saw Zhuge Mingyang, Li Jian's eyes burst out with hatred. I said, I will let you kill him with your own hands to avenge Zhou Zhang. Now, go ahead, Qin Feiyang said indifferently. Thank you, young master. Li Jian bowed and thanked him, then took a step forward and stepped on Zhuge Mingyang's body. He laughed sinisterly. You can kill anyone, but you can't kill Zhou Zhang. So what if I kill him? You two are 2 white-eyed wolves. Zhuge Mingyang laughed. Shut up, Li Jian shouted. What? Did I say anything wrong? It was Ancestor Yun who trained you. Without Ancestor Yun, what are you? I'm afraid you're still at the bottom. In order to survive, you're wagging your tail to others and living a life worse than pigs and dogs. But what about you? You actually joined Qin Feiyang and went against the Imperial Preceptor who trained you. I want to ask, shouldn't people like you be killed? Zhuge Mingyang shouted. Murderous intent flashed in Li Jian's eyes. He stepped on Zhuge Mingyang's face and stomped Zhuge Mingyang's head into the ground. Although the Imperial Preceptor trained us, we have done a lot for him over the years. It's time to pay him back. Now, I will avenge Zhou Zheng and kill you, you bastard. Li Jian took a step back and took out a dagger. His face was full of viciousness. You will regret this. Just you wait. Zhuge Mingyang laughed sinisterly. You're about to die, and yet you're still so stubborn. I'll shut you up first. Li Jian suddenly grabbed the dagger and stabbed it down. The dagger directly penetrated Zhuge Mingyang's throat. Puff. Fresh blood spurted out. The surrounding ground was quickly dyed blood red. To be honest, without the Imperial Preceptor's help, you, Zhuge Mingyang, are just a lowly worm. So, you have no right to criticize me. Now, I'm going to end your life and bury you with Zhou Zheng. Li Jian smiled disdainfully. He raised his hand and chopped Zhuge Mingyang into pieces again. But it was not over yet. Li Jian put away the dagger, stood up, and waved his hand. Battle Qi rolled out until Zhuge Mingyang's corpse was ground to dust. Only then did he stop. Can someone like you come back from the dead? Qin Feiyang remained expressionless. Not to mention sympathy. I've finally avenged you. Zhou Zheng, you can rest in peace now, Li Jian muttered. He turned around and looked at Qin Feiyang. He bowed and said, Young master, thank you. Please believe me. In the future, I will definitely follow you wholeheartedly and never betray you. I believe you. Qin Feiyang nodded and smiled. Go to the castle and find Ling Yunfei. Go to his divine space item and comprehend the mysteries of becoming a god. The stronger you are, the more help you will be to me. I will work hard and live up to your expectations, young master, Li Jian said. Qin Feiyang smiled and waved his hand to send Li Jian to the castle. He then checked Zhuge Mingyang's Qinkuan bag. Chapter 1519. In Zhuge Mingyang's Qinkuan bag, other than a jade box, there was nothing else? How could this be? Wasn't this too shabby? But suddenly, a wry smile crept onto his face. He remembered. The Qinkuan bag that Zhuge Mingyang brought in from the outside had long been snatched away by him in the Spider Emperor's territory. In other words, the Qinkuan bag now was new. He took out the only jade box, and the moment he opened it, his eyes flashed. Kuei water essence. And there were 4 of them. Sure enough, you took the opportunity to take away the Kuei water essence when I was fighting with Lu Xingqian. But in the end, didn't it still fall into my hands? Qin Feiyang looked at the flesh that had been ground into pieces, sneered, and then kept the jade box. Right, Viper and the others. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang's gaze trembled, and he hurriedly closed his eyes. Through the slave seal, he sensed the location of Viper and the other beasts. He was afraid that Viper and the other beasts would be sucked dry by Zhuge Mingyang like the ghost wolves in the canyon. Finally, he heaved a sigh of relief. He could clearly sense the location of Viper, double-winged snow eagle, and the other beasts. Being able to sense their location proved that they were still alive. However, everyone was still a little far away from him. It's good that you're alive, Qin Feiyang muttered, swallowed a battle chi pill, and used phantom steps, rushing towards the northwest direction. Along the way, he found a lot of ghost wolves' corpses. Almost all of them were the same, sucked dry and died. This made him feel inconceivable. The ghost wolves were scattered all over the place. Even if it was him, it would take several days to slaughter the entire wolf pack. But Zhuge Mingyang, in such a short period of time, actually absorbed all the ghost wolves' blood. How did he do it? Wait. Qin Feiyang stopped in his tracks, lowered his head, and fell into deep thought. After a long while, his gaze trembled. Could it be that Zhuge Mingyang's revival was related to these ghost wolves? In other words, Did Zhuge Mingyang come back from the dead because he absorbed all the spirit wolf's qi and blood? If that was the case, he quickly turned around and went back the way he came. Very soon, he once again came to the place where Zhuge Mingyang had died. The crushed flesh was still there. Qin Feiyang stood at the side and observed for a moment. He didn't find anything strange. Wildfire can't burn it out, but it will grow again when the spring breeze blows. Suddenly, a cold light flashed in Qin Feiyang's eyes. Flaming battle qi surged out and pounced on the flesh. He didn't stop until the flesh was burned to ashes. All that's left is ashes. Let's see how you're going to revive. Qin Feiyang sneered. Only then did he heave a sigh of relief. Then, he turned around and sensed Viper's location while rushing to his aid. Time was like sand between one's fingers, passing by in the blink of an eye. Noon of the second day, he stood at the edge of a giant peak, overlooking the surroundings. Because the Viper's aura was nearby, suddenly, his gaze locked onto a mountain stream below. His face was instantly filled with joy. Somewhere in the mountain stream, a young man was galloping while vigilantly scanning the surroundings. This person was about 1.8 meters tall. His body was thin and his facial features were regular. He could be considered as a talent. However, the skin all over his body was emitting a strange green color, especially his eyes. They were green like a snake's eyes, and they were suffused with a cold light. That's right, he was Viper. From afar, Qin Feiyang could feel a fatal poisonous aura from him. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with a hint of ridicule. He restrained his aura and jumped down from the cliff. Then, he quietly went behind Viper and found an opportunity to strike. Viper was like a frightened rabbit. He slapped his palm towards Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang was stunned. He smiled and said, "Good reaction." As he spoke, he took a step back. "Young master." When Viper heard Qin Feiyang's voice, he was stunned. Then, he turned his head and saw that it was really Qin Feiyang. He was overjoyed. "Young master, I finally found you." Viper ran in front of Qin Feiyang and was ready to give Qin Feiyang a bear hug. Qin Feiyang quickly took a step back and said, "First, withdraw the poisonous aura from your body." Viper was stunned. He scratched his head and said with a smile, "I forgot." After saying that, with a thought, the poisonous aura was withdrawn. His skin and eyes also returned to their normal color. In fact, this was a way of self-defense. As long as he released the poisonous aura, ordinary people and beasts would not easily get close. "Is it okay now?" Viper snickered. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. He stretched out his arms and opened his arms. Viper stepped forward and gave Qin Feiyang a bear hug. He sighed. "A day without you feels like 3 years. I miss you so much. By the way, did you find Brother Wolf and Dan?" "Sure." Qin Feiyang hurriedly made a shushing gesture. "What's wrong?" Viper was surprised. "Wang Yu is in the castle," Qin Feiyang secretly said. Viper was stunned and raised his eyebrows. "How can you let her enter the castle?" Qin Feiyang said, "It's a long story. When you go in later, you can ask Dan Wangkai and the others. They will explain it to you." "Okay." Viper nodded and said, "I really didn't expect to see you alive again. This is simply hell. It's so hot. Look at the sweat on my body." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, "Even if it's hell, we have to continue. By the way, have you seen any living spirit wolves along the way?" "I was just about to talk to you about this. Yesterday morning, when I passed through this mountain range, I found a lot of spirit wolves' corpses. At that time, I felt strange, so I came in to take a look. I didn't expect to see more corpses on the way, and the way they died was very strange. It was as if their flesh and blood were sucked away by something," Viper said, his face full of surprise. Sigh. Qin Feiyang sighed secretly. "Do you know what's going on?" Viper asked. Qin Feiyang nodded and said with a smile, "If you have any questions, ask Fatso and the others." "Okay." Viper nodded and took out an illusory form pill. He turned into a middle-aged man and asked, "Aren't you going to the castle?" Qin Feiyang said with a smile, "I still have to find the pangolin, black dragon snake, winged snow eagle and the others." "What?" They're here too? Viper was surprised. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. Viper said, Okay, send me to the castle. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent Viper to the castle. Then, he rushed in the direction of the black dragon snake. Finding people was the most troublesome thing, especially when they were not together yet. It was a waste of energy and time. At noon on the third day, Qin Feiyang found the black dragon snake and the pangolin. It was also the evening of the third day. Qin Feiyang finally found the winged snow eagle in a valley. In other words, it took him 2 days to find the winged snow eagle and the other beasts. But when he found the winged snow eagle, it gave him a big surprise. This surprise was the Silver Wolf King. However, the current Silver Wolf King was no longer as handsome as before. The fur all over his body was dim and lusterless, and his facial features were also incomparably old. The fluctuations of his life were also extremely weak. It gave people the feeling that his life was coming to an end. Inside the castle, Qin Feiyang stood with everyone, looking at the Silver Wolf King and the winged snow eagle suspiciously. They were all wondering why these two fellows were together. As for the Golden Wolf King, he looked at the Silver Wolf King, his eyes and body trembling with excitement. At the same time, there was also endless anger. The Golden Wolf King asked, Brother, what's going on? Why did you become like this? I don't know either. The Golden Wolf King shook his head. You don't know? Everyone looked at each other. Hurry up and explain. The Golden Wolf King urged. This matter started 3 days ago. At that time, I was on my way to the water source. But suddenly, a few clansmen collapsed. I thought they were tired, but when I checked, I found that the qi and blood in their bodies were actually flowing away. I hurriedly checked my own situation and finally found that my qi and blood were also flowing away. The Silver Wolf King said. Recalling the situation at that time, he still felt a little scared. And then? Did you find the reason for the loss of qi and blood? The Golden Wolf King asked. Yes. I found that there was a mysterious force lurking in my body, robbing my qi and blood, and I also found the same mysterious force in the bodies of my clansmen. But this mysterious force has no aura and is very difficult to detect. It is pervasive and can't be expelled. In the end, I could only watch as my clansmen fell in front of me one after another. The Silver Wolf King closed his eyes in pain. After a long time, he calmed down the grief in his heart and continued, Just when I thought that I was going to die, that power suddenly disappeared. But at that time, I didn't have much qi and blood left in my body, so I still couldn't escape death. But just as I was about to lose all hope, the double-winged snow eagle accidentally bumped into me and gave me some pills to save my life. After that, the Silver Wolf King turned to look at the double-winged snow eagle, his eyes full of gratitude. But when he saw Qin Feiyang, a cold light flashed in his eyes. So that's what happened. Everyone suddenly understood. It seemed that the Silver Wolf King's cultivation was higher and his qi and blood were more vigorous than the other ghost wolves, so he was lucky to escape death. The Golden Wolf King also looked at the double-winged snow eagle and said, Thank you. We're family. Don't be so polite. The double-winged snow eagle lay on Qin Feiyang's shoulder and chuckled. The Silver Wolf King immediately looked at the double-winged snow eagle and said, Snow Eagle, I'm very grateful that you saved me, but I don't agree with this so-called family. The Golden Wolf King's expression changed and he hurriedly said, Brother. But before the Golden Wolf King could say anything, the Silver Wolf King glared at Qin Feiyang and shouted, Brother, why are you with him? Do you know that he killed many of our clansmen? The Golden Wolf King glanced at Qin Feiyang and sighed inwardly. He nodded and said, I know. The Silver Wolf King turned to the Golden Wolf King and said in disbelief, Since you know, then you. The Golden Wolf King interrupted the Silver Wolf King and said, That's enough, brother. Stop talking. Hurry up and recover your qi and blood. It was worried that the Silver Wolf King would become more and more ridiculous and infuriate Qin Feiyang. After spending so much time together, it had a deep understanding of Qin Feiyang's methods. Once this person was angered, the consequences would be unimaginable. No, we have to make things clear now. But the Silver Wolf King was also very stubborn. He would not give up until he made things clear. The atmosphere in the castle became solemn all of a sudden. Everyone's eyes also turned to Qin Feiyang. Chapter 1520. However, Qin Feiyang did not say a word from the beginning to the end. It felt as if this matter had nothing to do with him. The Golden Wolf King gritted his teeth and looked at Qin Feiyang. "Boss Qin, can you spare my brother's life for my sake?" The Silver Wolf King was stunned and said angrily, "Big brother, why are you begging him?" "I'll say it one last time. Shut up." The Golden Wolf King shouted angrily. "I." The Silver Wolf King immediately jumped up. "Enough." However, at this moment, Qin Feiyang spoke. His tone was a little cold. The Golden Wolf King's gaze trembled, and he hurriedly raised his head to look at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang said calmly, "Did I say I want to kill it?" "No. What I mean is, let it go," the Golden Wolf King said. "Okay. However, have you ever thought about where it can go now that all of your clansmen have been slaughtered?" Qin Feiyang looked at the Golden Wolf King and said, "This." The Golden Wolf King's gaze was dazed. That's right. His people had been wiped out. Where could the Silver Wolf King go? The Silver Wolf King came back to his senses and looked at the Golden Wolf King. He asked, "Big brother, aren't you going to leave with me?" "I can't leave now." The Golden Wolf King smiled bitterly. "Why?" The Silver Wolf King was bewildered. The Golden Wolf King glanced at Qin Feiyang and lowered his head, not daring to make a sound. "Tell me," the Silver Wolf King roared. Qin Feiyang said, "Let me tell you. Its soul has been controlled by me. Its life no longer belongs to itself. It belongs to me." "What? I've controlled its soul?" The Silver Wolf King's body shook violently. He looked at the Golden Wolf King and asked, "Is this true?" The Golden Wolf King sighed and nodded. "It's true. Damn human. I'm going to kill you." The Silver Wolf King was furious. He bared his fangs and pounced on Qin Feiyang. "Brother, don't." The Golden Wolf King's expression changed and he hurriedly. But it was too late. Qin Feiyang coldly snorted. Then, he casually swatted the Silver Wolf King with his palm. The Silver Wolf King was immediately sent flying like a meteor. It crashed into the stone wall behind it. "Brother." The Golden Wolf King hurriedly ran over and asked, "Are you all right?" "I'm fine." The Silver Wolf King got up and glared at Qin Feiyang. "If it wasn't for the Golden Wolf King, you would be a corpse by now." Qin Feiyang glanced at the Silver Wolf King indifferently. He then looked at the Golden Wolf King and said, "Talk to it. Don't provoke me again." "Okay." The Golden Wolf King nodded. Qin Feiyang flashed and disappeared without a trace. The double-winged snow eagle stayed on Qin Feiyang's shoulder and said, "Boss, why don't we keep the Silver Wolf King? After all, it has a divine art." Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. He said, "Some things can't be forced. Let nature take its course." "So, you have the same idea too?" The double-winged snow eagle was surprised. "It has the cultivation of a peak 9-star combat emperor and also has a divine art. It would be best if we could keep it for our own use." "You should go and cultivate too. Try to break through to the peak as soon as possible." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "Okay." The double-winged snow eagle nodded. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent the double-winged snow eagle to the castle. He then closed his eyes and sensed the location of the Scorpion Emperor and the other two beasts through the slave seal. Of course he knew where the Scorpion Emperor and the other two beasts were. He did this just to confirm the safety of the four beasts. A moment later, Qin Feiyang opened his eyes. Through the slave seal, he could sense the location of the four beasts, which meant that the four beasts were not in danger. Whoosh! At that moment, he used the phantom steps and rushed towards the direction of the water source. The next day, evening, he finally met the Scorpion Emperor and the other two beasts. "Has Lu Xingqian come out?" Qin Feiyang asked. The Crocodile Emperor sneered, "Yes, he has come out twice in the past few days. But when he saw us, he immediately hid inside. He is simply a coward." The corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth lifted. He looked at the empty void and said faintly, "You didn't expect that you would have such a day, right?" He did not care whether Lu Xingqian heard it or not. After he finished speaking, Qin Feiyang reminded the Crocodile Emperor and the other two beasts and entered the castle. He closed the kill formula and continued to imitate the fifth stroke of the Xing formula. Time flew by. 2 months passed. 2 months had passed outside, but 600 days had passed in the castle. It was close to 2 years. Boom. Early in the morning, Qin Feiyang's body trembled, and a shocking emperor's aura broke out from his body. The fifth stroke of the Xing formula also emitted a bright divine light. Soon, his cultivation level directly soared to a 6-star combat emperor. The white-eyed wolf, Fatso, Lu Hong, Lu Zheng, the pangolin, the venomous snake, the black dragon snake, Dan Wangkai, and the others had undergone earth-shattering changes in their cultivation levels. Kuinpeng, the lady of the Dragon Phoenix House, Luo Qingzhu, and Ling Yunfei's cultivation levels had also improved and stepped into the peak state. Even Wang Yu had gained a lot. As for the Silver Wolf King, in the beginning, it had been plotting all day about how to kill Qin Feiyang. However, it slowly realized that there was no chance at all. Even if there was a chance, it could not do it. Later, under the persuasion of the Golden Wolf King, it slowly began to compromise. After 600 days in the castle, it was now getting along well with everyone. Just 1 stroke left. Qin Feiyang stared at the Xing formula, took a deep breath, and restrained his aura. He turned his head and glanced at Luo Qingzhu and the others with a smile in his eyes. Not only was he becoming stronger, but everyone was also becoming stronger step by step. Especially Ling Yunfei and the others, they were only 1 step away from stepping into the false god realm. At that time, this small team would have the capital to compete with the Mu family, Great Qin, and the main pagoda. Qin Feiyang closed the 6-word formula and looked at Fatso and said, "Come here." Fatso opened his eyes and looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. Qin Feiyang secretly smiled and said, "I have a surprise for you." "What surprise?" Fatso quickly got up and went at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang took out a jade slip and handed it to Fatso. "What is this?" Fatso was surprised. This jade slip actually carried a trace of divine power. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "Take a look for yourself. I guarantee that you will be pleasantly surprised." "Is that so?" Fatso took the jade slip skeptically and immersed his mind into it. His face suddenly froze. Divine art, black dragon scripture. Fatso came back to his senses and looked up at Qin Feiyang with a face full of surprise. "I'm not dreaming, am I?" Qin Feiyang smiled and did not answer. He left the castle, leaving Fatso alone in a daze. Outside, in the past 2 months, the Scorpion Emperor and the other 2 beasts had not left, not giving Lu Xingchen any chance to escape. Swish. Qin Feiyang appeared and asked, "How is it?" The Scorpion Emperor smiled and said, "In the past 2 months, he has come out a total of 5 times. I can clearly feel that he is about to lose his patience." Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. He looked at the place where Lu Xingchen disappeared and said indifferently, "It has only been 2 months. There is still a long time. Let's continue to waste time." Swish. As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Xingchen appeared in front of him out of thin air. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said angrily, "Is there any point in doing this?" Qin Feiyang said, "Of course there is. It's fun." "You?" Lu Xingchen's face was full of anger, but he suddenly sneered and said, "You want to waste time, right? Fine, I'm not afraid of you. Anyway, I also want to cultivate in seclusion. Look at my current cultivation, hasn't it improved?" As he spoke, he released his aura. Qin Feiyang's pupils shrank. This guy had also broken through a small realm and stepped into the 7-star combat emperor realm. Shocked, Lu Xingchen said proudly, "Tisk." Qin Feiyang smiled disdainfully and released his aura. "What? You also broke through?" Lu Xingchen's proud face suddenly froze. "You are not the only one who is becoming stronger. What is there to be proud of? Moreover, so what if you have broken through? Do you dare to fight with me directly?" Qin Feiyang sneered. Lu Xingchen clenched his fists. If he was still in peak condition, who would dare to provoke him like this? A tiger that has fallen from the level will be bullied by dogs. This sentence was not false at all. Qin Feiyang laughed again and said, "How about this? I will lower my cultivation by a small realm and fight with you with the cultivation of a 5-star combat emperor. As long as you can defeat me, I will let you go. Don't go too far. Lu Xingqian suddenly exploded and said angrily, I am obviously giving in to you. How can you say that I am bullying you? Qin Feiyong looked puzzled. What do you want? Lu Xingqian's fingers were tightly clenched together, making cracking sounds. It was obvious that he was extremely angry. Qin Feiyong's face turned cold and said, I will say the same thing again. Let Mu Qing stay. Impossible. Lu Xingqian said, It is not up to you whether it is possible or not. Unless you really want to fight with me, Qin Feiyong said. Lu Xingqian's face was as calm as water. He suppressed the anger in his heart and said, If we fight like this, it will not benefit either of us. It will only benefit the imperial advisor and the people of the main tower. And then, Qin Feiyong looked at him playfully. Looking at Qin Feiyong's eyes, Lu Xingqian was about to go crazy and shouted, Our enemy is not each other, but them. Do you understand? I know, but so what? Don't tell me that you have turned over a new leaf and given up on reviving the Tianyang Empire, Qin Feiyong said. Why can't you listen to me? Although we will become enemies sooner or later, the current situation requires the two of us to work together, Lu Xingqian said angrily. Qin Feiyong said indifferently, not interested, You are simply unreasonable. I dare to swear to the heavens that someone like you will die in the hands of the great Qin Empire and the main tower sooner or later. Lu Xingqian roared again and again. How could there be such a stubborn person in the world? He was completely impervious. You don't need to worry about whether I will die or not. You should think more about how to escape from my hands. Qin Feiyong laughed and said, He did it on purpose. The more irritable and angry Lu Xingqian was, the more comfortable he felt in his heart. Moreover, an irritable person would reveal a flaw sooner or later. He was waiting for this flaw. Lu Xingqian fell silent. Although his heart was filled with raging anger, he could only suppress it now because there was nowhere to vent it. Time passed bit by bit. Suddenly, he looked up at Qin Feiyong and said helplessly, I can't give you Mu Qing, but I can consider other conditions. Other conditions? Chapter 1521. Other than Mu Qing, I can consider any condition, Lu Xingqian reiterated again. Any condition, Qin Feiyong murmured. His eyes flashed as he looked at Lu Xingqian and said with a smile, This is what you said. I want all the god techniques on you. All the god techniques? Lu Xingqian was stunned. He was immediately furious and roared, You're a bastard. At the same time, Qin Feiyong took a step forward and landed in front of Lu Xingqian like lightning. He grabbed Lu Xingqian's neck. With his other hand, he took out the Chang Shui and placed it between Lu Xingqian's eyebrows. The sudden turn of events caused Lu Xingqian to break out in a cold sweat. Qin Feiyong grinned and said, I've been waiting for this flaw. Flaw? Lu Xingqian was stunned. He immediately understood what Qin Feiyong meant. It turned out that he was deliberately provoking him. Damn it. He actually fell for this bastard's trick. Qin Feiyong said with a smile, I want to ask you, how are you going to get to the spatial divine item now? Lu Xingqian's heart sank. He was able to escape last time because Qin Feiyong grabbed his arm. Breaking his own arm was not fatal. But now, it was his neck. If he broke his own neck, it was tantamount to suicide. Qin Feiyong said, Hand over Mu Qing. You have no choice now. Lu Xingqian was silent. It seems that you really value him. You'd rather die than hand him over. In that case, I'll fulfill your wish. Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed fiercely, and his 5 fingers suddenly clenched. Don't. Lu Xingqian's expression changed, and he hurriedly roared. But Qin Feiyong turned a deaf ear, because he already had the intention to kill. Regardless of whether Lu Xingqian handed over Mu Qing or not, he was going to kill him today. With a crack, Lu Xingqian's neck broke on the spot. That was right. It wasn't shattered. It was a fracture. All of this happened too quickly. In the blink of an eye, Lu Xingqian's head fell to the ground. Blood spurted out from the bowl-sized wound. His eyes, which were wide open in death, glared at his boss. But it wasn't over yet. Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed with a bone-piercing cold light. He grabbed the Chang Shui, suddenly possessed it, and stabbed it towards Lu Xingchen's forehead. In Lu Xingchen's mind, there were 3 strands of Mu Tianyang's consciousness. As long as these 3 strands of spiritual consciousness were not removed, Mu Tianyang would always exist. However, just as the Chang Shui sank into Lu Xingchen's forehead, 3 strands of blood-red mist burst out from the top of his head. It was Mu Tianyang's 3 strands of spiritual consciousness. Moreover, in the 3 strands of spiritual consciousness, there was a palm-sized canyon. This canyon was Mu Tianyang's space divine item. Qin Feiyang, just you wait. I will definitely make you pay with your blood. As soon as the 3 strands of spiritual consciousness appeared, they took the space divine item and fled without looking back, leaving behind a murderous roar. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and stop him. Qin Feiyang glared at the crocodile emperor and the 4 beasts and shouted. Okay, okay, okay. The 4 beasts quivered, nodded repeatedly, and quickly chased after the spiritual consciousness. They didn't expect Qin Feiyang to kill so easily, so they were in a daze just now. Qin Feiyang took out the Chang Shui and also used the phantom steps to chase after him. However, without the restraint of the physical body, the speed of the 3 strands of spiritual consciousness was even faster than before. It was even faster than the speed of a 9-star combat emperor. In the blink of an eye, they were gone. The crocodile emperor and the 4 beasts couldn't catch up. They stopped and turned to look at Qin Feiyang timidly, afraid that Qin Feiyang would blame them. Qin Feiyang walked step by step to the side of the 4 beasts. Looking in the direction where the spiritual consciousness disappeared, his face was frighteningly gloomy. The 4 beasts lowered their heads and didn't dare to breathe. After a long time, Qin Feiyang retracted his gaze and turned to look at Lu Xingchen's corpse, murmuring, I didn't destroy Mu Tianyang's spiritual consciousness. Even if I killed Lu Xingchen, what's the use? He can still take over other people's bodies. The crocodile emperor and the 4 beasts looked at Qin Feiyang and blamed themselves. It's our fault. We're sorry. It's okay? Qin Feiyang waved his hand. The 4 beasts looked at each other. What's going on? He didn't even say a word of blame? Could it be their behavior disappointed their boss? Was he going to chase them away? Boss, we know we're wrong. Please forgive us. Please, don't chase us away. Okay? Our people are gone. If you chase us away, we don't know where to go. The 4 beasts hurriedly said. Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked suspiciously, when did I say I'm going to chase you away? We made such a big mistake, but you didn't blame us. Aren't you going to chase us away? The 4 beasts asked. Qin Feiyang was once again astonished. He said speechlessly, your imagination is too rich. I don't blame you because this isn't your fault. It's not our fault? The 4 beasts looked at each other and were even more puzzled. They didn't react in time and let Mu Tianyang's consciousness escape. How was it not their fault? In fact, I was anxious just now, so I asked you to intercept Mu Tianyang's consciousness. At that time, I didn't think that with your strength, you can't stop him. Not only can you not stop him, but you will also put you in danger, because if you attack, Mu Tianyang will definitely be driven to desperation. He will disregard the warnings of the guardians of the miracle and kill you. So, you were right not to do anything, Qin Feiyang said. The 4 beasts looked at each other. That was the truth. Qin Feiyang sighed and said with a smile, okay, get ready to go. Go? The 4 beasts were stunned and asked, go where? There are still a few people I need to find. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he closed his eyes and sensed the location of Wang Ziqing and the others through the slave seal. Wang Ziqing and the others had been controlled by the slave seal and were also his spies in the main tower, so he couldn't leave them alone. A moment later, Qin Feiyang opened his eyes and frowned. What's wrong? The 4 beasts looked at him suspiciously. These people are all in front of us. However, they are very far from here. I estimate that it will take at least half a month for the nearest one to meet her. And that's if she doesn't move. If she moves, it will take even longer, Qin Feiyang said. The person closest to him was the Ghost Queen. What kind of people are they? The 4 beasts were puzzled. Don't worry, you will know when you find them. Qin Feiyang smiled, looked at the four beasts, and asked with a smile, "Next, I have a question. Which one of you is willing to lead everyone outside?" "Me," Scorpion King said. "No, no, no. When we came to White Bone Canyon, you have been leading everyone. This time, we have to change. I can't let you be the only one tired." "Let me do it this time," Crocodile King said. "All right." Scorpion King pondered for a moment and nodded with a smile. Qin Feiyong looked at the two beasts with a smile on his face. These two guys used to be sworn enemies and would fight whenever they met. But now, they were actually thinking for each other. What did that mean? It meant that after this period of time, they had slowly put aside their previous grudges and became each other's pillar, supporting and trusting each other. That was a good thing. Boom. Crocodile King revealed its true form, and its ferocious aura spread in all directions. "Then I'll have to trouble you." Qin Feiyong patted Crocodile King's head and smiled. "It's a piece of cake." Crocodile King grinned. Qin Feiyong waved his hand and jumped onto Crocodile King's back with Scorpion King and the other two beasts. Then, they disappeared together. After the ancient castle was parked on Crocodile King's back, Crocodile King moved its feet and ran towards the southwest. Although it was huge, it was extremely fast. Like lightning, it disappeared at the end of the earth. Inside the ancient castle, Fatso had returned to normal. He was sitting in a corner and silently comprehending the Black Dragon scripture. Lu Hong and the others would occasionally look at him with envy. Obviously, when Qin Feiyong was outside killing Lu Xingqian, Fatso was showing off in front of everyone. Seeing Qin Feiyong and Scorpion King and the other two beasts appear, Lu Hong got up and asked, "How is Lu Xingqian?" "Lu Xingqian is dead, but Mu Tianyang's consciousness." Qin Feiyong sighed and said with a smile, "Let's not talk about these annoying things first." After that, he looked at Scorpion King and the other two beasts and asked, "Do you know the location of the other water sources?" "The miracle is too big. We have not been to all the places. And the emperors of the major regions will not allow others to easily step into their territory. Just like in the past, Crocodile King, Ant King, Spider King and I will not let each other enter our respective territories, unless the Ant King and Spider King have a particularly good relationship. That's why we don't really know much about miracles," Scorpion King said. Qin Feiyong nodded. It seemed that there was no way to find the remaining water sources one by one. It was a pity. He turned to Ling Yunfei and said, "Send them to your space god item, and the Golden Wolf King and Silver Wolf King." "What for?" "I'm not going anywhere." Silver Wolf King glared at Qin Feiyong angrily. It was quite close to everyone now, except for Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows. Seeing this, the Golden Wolf King hurriedly said in a low voice, "Brother, can you stop talking?" Silver Wolf King said angrily, "Brother, you can't be so spineless. He's just a lowly ant. What right does he have to make us work for him?" But before it could say anything, Qin Feiyong's eyes turned cold and he shouted, "Destroy it." The Scorpion Emperor, the Ant Emperor, and the Spider Emperor immediately charged forward and bombarded the place. It did not even have a chance to use a divine art. Its energy reserve was instantly shattered by Spider King's claw. "Boss Qin, please, don't kill it." The Golden Wolf King hurriedly ran in front of Qin Feiyong to plead. Qin Feiyong turned a deaf ear. His eyes were as sharp as knives. "Brother, hurry up and apologize to Boss Qin. Admit your mistake." Golden Wolf King shouted anxiously, "He killed our people. He should be the one apologizing, not us." Silver Wolf King roared, "Damn it, still stubborn. Let's see if you won't cry until you're in the coffin. Do you think you're still the Silver Wolf King that once dominated Bone Canyon? Now, you're just our prisoner." Chapter 1522. Bang Bang Bang. Ayo. The Silver Wolf King howled miserably. Its face was distorted, and its entire body was dripping with blood. The Golden Wolf King was burning with anxiety as it watched this scene. But without Qin Feiyong's orders, it did not dare to move. Finally, with a bang, the Silver Wolf King fell to the ground, lying in a pool of blood on the verge of death. Its aura was extremely weak. "All right." Qin Feiyong waved his hand. Only then did the Scorpion King and the other two beasts stop and retreat behind Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang slowly walked forward, looked down at the Silver Wolf King and said, "This is the last lesson. If you dare to be presumptuous again, I will end your life." After saying that, he formed a seal with both hands, and an enslavement seal appeared, sinking into the Silver Wolf King's head like lightning. "Ah!" The Silver Wolf King screamed again. Sigh. The Golden Wolf King sighed secretly. This was all brought upon by the Silver Wolf King. Otherwise, how could it be controlled by the enslavement seal? Qin Feiyang turned to look at Lu Hong and said, "The Silver Wolf King will be your mount." Lu Hong was overjoyed. At the same time. Hearing this, the Silver Wolf King immediately got up. But before it could say anything, Qin Feiyang turned to look at it, his eyes cold and piercing, and said, "Do you have a problem with that?" The Silver Wolf King immediately lowered its head, not daring to look at Qin Feiyang's eyes. It was also scared of being beaten up. Qin Feiyang snorted coldly, looked at Lu Hong and said, "If it doesn't listen, kill it without mercy." The Silver Wolf King's body trembled, and its eyes were filled with fear. "Okay." Lu Hong smiled. As for the Golden Wolf King, Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and said, "Fatso, here you go." "I don't want it." Fatso, who was sitting in a corner comprehending the divine formula, opened his eyes and looked at Qin Feiyang, shaking his head. "No?" Qin Feiyang was surprised. Fat Lord is waiting for the black dragon snake to transform into a black dragon. Fatso snickered. What he meant was that after the black dragon snake evolved, he would use it as a mount. When the black dragon snake heard this, it immediately glared at Fatso. Fatso didn't think much of it. He chuckled and said, "A black dragon mount. I can't help but get excited just thinking about it. Bastard, I'll fight you to the death." The black dragon snake immediately pounced forward, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws, hitting his flirting and scolding his love. "Go ahead." Fatso snickered. He was like a dead pig that wasn't afraid of boiling water. It simply made people want to beat him up. "If Fatso doesn't want it, I will. Wolf Cub, follow me from now on. We'll be invincible when we combine our swords." Ling Yunfei snickered. "Combine our swords? I think it's more like a combination of cheap." The white-eyed wolf looked down on him. Luo Qingzhu interrupted and said with a smile, "No matter how cheap they are, they're not as cheap as you, Brother Wolf." The white-eyed wolf was stunned and snorted, "Sister Qingzhu, you've learned bad things. This is not good. Be careful that no one wants you in the future." "Are you asking for a beating?" Luo Qingzhu immediately waved her fist and gave the white-eyed wolf a punch. Yes. It's asking for a beating. Hurry up and beat it. Beat it hard. I'll take responsibility if you beat it to death." Ling Yunfei, the pangolin, the winged snow eagle, Fatso, the black dragon snake, and even the Golden Wolf King began to jeer at the side. Looking at this happy scene, Qin Feiyang's face was also full of smiles. These people and these beasts were his family. He was not lonely. Wang Yuer, who was next to him, looked at this scene with a bit of desire and envy in her eyes. She also wanted to really integrate into this small team. But for some reason, everyone seemed to be a little wary of her and couldn't really accept her. Viper walked to Qin Feiyang's side, glanced at Wang Yuer, and transmitted his voice. "Are we going to look for Wang Ziqing and the rest now?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. Viper secretly said, "I think we shouldn't look for them first." "What do you mean?" Qin Feiyang looked at Viper suspiciously. "They are all cunning old foxes. I believe there shouldn't be any accidents. What worries me the most now is still Yen Wei," Viper secretly said. "Yen Wei?" Qin Feiyang murmured. "Since Yen Wei followed you, he has been sacrificing himself. Previously, in the Central Divine Kingdom, he lurked around Fuanshan. Later, when we returned to the Great Qin Empire, he lurked around the State Preceptor again. He has sacrificed too much for us, so I think we must ensure his safety first." Viper transmitted his voice. Qin Feiyang secretly sighed. "When have I not thought about what you said? But now, there is a big problem." "What problem?" Viper was suspicious. "The slave seal. When he lurked around the State Preceptor, I removed the slave seal, so now I can't sense his location through the slave seal, Qin Feiyang secretly said. Viper raised his eyebrows. This was indeed a problem. Qin Feiyang sighed. I have seen his sacrifice, but now, I can't do anything about it. I can only pray for him in my heart. Sigh. Viper sighed deeply. The miracle was so big that it was impossible to determine the location. To find a person was undoubtedly like looking for a needle in a haystack. Wait. Suddenly, Viper seemed to have thought of something and transmitted his voice. Isn't there still Mu Qing? Qin Feiyang said, now that things have come to this, do you think he will still help us? If he doesn't help, then kill him. Viper coldly snorted. Kill? Qin Feiyang was stunned and shook his head. In the past 2 months, we have spent a lot of effort and still couldn't kill him. How can it be easy to kill him in the future? My head hurts. Viper rubbed his forehead. Yeah, my head hurts. However, it's not like we don't have a chance. This time, Mu Tianyang suffered such a big loss. He will definitely not let it go. Sooner or later, he will come looking for me. At that time, we will take our time to plan. Qin Feiyang said, that's the only way. I hope Yin Wei can hold on until the moment we find him. Viper sighed. Qin Feiyang took a deep breath, calmed down, walked to the altar, opened the 6-word formula, and began to copy the 6th stroke of the Xing word formula. Seeing this, everyone also stopped playing and entered a state of seclusion. Silver Wolf King also finally became obedient, lying beside Lu Hong, silently repairing his qi. However, from time to time, he would glance at Qin Feiyang. But he was no longer as arrogant as before. His eyes were filled with awe and fear. On the 3rd day after Qin Feiyang and the others left, an invisible force quietly spread out in the White Bone Canyon. This force was invisible and colorless, and it did not have any aura. It was as if it was looking for a target, constantly spreading in all directions. Half a day later, this force spread throughout the entire White Bone Canyon at an astonishing speed. On the morning of the 4th day, a group of 50 to 60 people entered the White Bone Canyon. There were men and women, old and young, and they were aggressive. However, their cultivation bases were not very good. Most of them were 1-star combat emperors, and only a small half were 2-star combat emperors. In fact, it was not difficult to determine their identities just by looking at their cultivation bases. There were a total of 4 forces that entered the Divine Ruin this time. Main Pagoda, Great Qin, Mu family, and Qin Feiyang. Except for Qin Feiyang, both the Main Pagoda and Great Qin only had a cluster of pill fire. Therefore, the people who entered the Divine Ruin from both sides were basically 8-star combat emperors and above. As for the Mu family, originally, there were indeed many combat emperors, but last time, they were all killed by Qin Feiyang's trap. The strongest remaining were 9-star combat emperors. However, later on, Lu Xingchen returned and began to nurture the people of the Mu family. Before the Divine Ruin opened, there were also many combat emperors. Therefore, it could be determined that the 50 to 60 people in front of them were all from the Mu family. Why are there so many white bones? The group entered the White Bone Canyon. Looking at the white bones all over the ground, they could not help but feel terrified. The White Bone Canyon was originally filled with countless bones. Now, more than 2 months had passed, and the ghost wolf's corpse had basically rotted, leaving only white bones. It was even more terrifying. If one looked down from the sky, it was completely a sea of bones. It was like hell, and it was incomparably terrifying. Moreover, the air was also filled with a nauseating rotten smell. The group walked into the canyon and was especially careful. However, they were only paying attention to the situation around them and completely did not notice that there was a mysterious force that had entered their bodies the moment they stepped into the White Bone Canyon. Their blood and qi were silently flowing away. It was not until an hour later that one of them suddenly fell to the ground powerlessly that they realized something was wrong. However, it was already too late. One by one, they fell down one after another. As their blood and qi flowed away, they gradually lost their lives and finally turned into dried corpses. Similar to the situation here, it was also happening in several other places. In short, now, As long as one stepped into the area of the White Bone Canyon, whether it was a human or a beast, they would eventually have their blood and chi sucked dry and die. The seventh day, a group of 9-star combat emperor beasts barged in. They were entrenched nearby and had long discovered the abnormality here. Therefore, driven by curiosity, they barged into the canyon in groups to investigate. But in the end, these beasts also died one after another, and as more blood and chi were absorbed, the mysterious force became stronger and stronger. It was no longer limited to the White Bone Canyon and spread to the area outside the canyon. Until the 10th day, the mysterious force covered an area of millions of miles. Countless ferocious beasts were killed. It was like a plague. Wherever it went, no one was left alive. The 12th day, the mysterious force suddenly retreated like a tide, bringing the blood and chi of countless beasts back to the White Bone Canyon. Sand accumulated into a tower. Water accumulated into a river. When the blood and chi from all directions gathered in the sky above the canyon, it was like a sea of blood, rolling in the sky and surging angrily. In the end, the blood and chi surged towards the same place. And this place was the place where Zhuge Mingyang was killed. Blood waves rolled, covering the sky and the sun. Gradually, a figure appeared amidst the waves of blood. Boom! A terrifying aura of death erupted like a volcano, sweeping across the sky. Haha, Qin Feiyang, I'm back. Heaven and earth tremble. Soon, a maniacal laughter suddenly rang out in this world. The void and land here really started to tremble. The next moment, a young man stepped out of the blood waves. His murderous aura surged into the sky. Who else could it be but Zhuge Mingyang? At this moment, even his eyes had turned grayish-white, like a pair of death god's eyes, exuding an aura of death that made people despair. With the blood of billions of creatures, nurture my indestructible demon body. He stood proudly on the ground and roared towards the sky. The blood and chi that filled the void suddenly turned into a torrent, surging towards Zhuge Mingyang. Boom! His aura rose crazily. Chapter 1523. Let's talk about Qin Feiyang. 12 days had passed outside, and 120 days had passed inside the ancient castle. It was exactly 1/3 of a year. But he had only managed to copy 1/10 of the 6th stroke of the Huan formula. Compared to the previous 5 strokes, the 6th stroke was far more costly in terms of battle chi consumption and time. According to his estimation, it would take him at least 3 years to copy the last stroke. Fortunately, he had the ancient castle. 3 years was nothing. If not for the ancient castle, it would be a long process, because 3 years was enough to do a lot of things. Boss Qin, come out. Suddenly, the crocodile emperor's voice came from outside. Qin Feiyang was stunned. He retracted his arm, closed the 6-word divine formula, and appeared on the crocodile emperor's back. What appeared in front of him was a dense forest. It was boundless. In the depths of the forest, numerous enormous peaks towered into the sky. Everywhere was a scene of verdant and exuberant vitality. Qin Feiyang was excited. He had found another water source. The crocodile emperor scanned the mountains and rivers, its eyes shining. It smiled and said, "Boss, let's discuss something." "What is it?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Usually, there are divine artifacts or divine arts in places with water sources. If you find it later, can you give it to me? You have so many divine arts and divine weapons anyway. You don't care about 1 or 2, right? The crocodile emperor said, "You rascal." Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. He said, "If there is, I can give it to you. But it has to be suitable for you." The crocodile emperor gave him the armor and a divine weapon. There was nothing wrong with that. "Thank you, boss." The crocodile emperor was overjoyed. Qin Feiyang jumped down and landed on the ground in front of the crocodile emperor. He looked at the forest cautiously and said, "Are you familiar with this place?" "I have never been here." The crocodile emperor shook its head. Qin Feiyang said in a low voice, "Then be careful. There might be a powerful beast emperor here." The crocodile emperor nodded. It quickly shrunk its body and jumped onto Qin Feiyang's shoulder. Qin Feiyong took a deep breath and took a step forward into the forest. He carefully walked forward. The forest was silent. There were no traces of ferocious beasts on the ground. It felt like a primordial forest. Suddenly, the crocodile emperor looked around and asked suspiciously, "Boss, did you notice anything amiss?" "Something is wrong?" Qin Feiyong was stunned. He stopped and looked around. "You don't say. I really feel that something is wrong, but I don't know what it is." "Me too." Crocodile Emperor nodded. Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows. If he was the only one, he could say that it was an illusion. However, even the Crocodile Emperor had the same feeling. It seemed that there was indeed a problem with this forest. After carefully walking for a while, he didn't even encounter a mosquito, let alone a huge, ferocious beast. The surroundings were so quiet that it felt a little strange. So hot, Qin Feiyong wiped his sweat with his hand. Just as he was wiping his sweat, Qin Feiyong and the Crocodile Emperor were stunned. How could there be sweat in such a cool place like the water source? Wait a minute. The Crocodile Emperor's body shook. It quickly said, "Boss, retreat." Qin Feiyong didn't hesitate. He turned and ran out of the forest. Soon, one man and one beast returned to the starting point. They scanned the forest and then looked up at the 10 suns in the sky. They finally found out what was wrong. The temperature in the forest was no different from the outside. In other words, it was equally hot. Isn't this the water source? Why is it still so hot? Could it be an illusion? The Crocodile Emperor retracted its gaze and looked at the forest in front of it in surprise. Illusion? Qin Feiyong frowned. With a wave of his hand, a wisp of battle aura flew out and blasted at a big tree. The trunk of the big tree was instantly pierced and wood chips flew everywhere. "It doesn't seem to be an illusion," Qin Feiyong murmured. "Then this is very strange. How can these plants survive in such hot weather? And they're still so lush?" The Crocodile Emperor said. Qin Feiyong nodded. Even he couldn't withstand the heat of 10 suns, let alone the plants that grew here all year round. There must be something fishy going on. Suddenly, a strong sense of crisis rose in his heart. Qin Feiyong's body and mind tightened. However, he couldn't find the source of the crisis. What was going on? Just as he was feeling irritated, he suddenly felt a pain in his lower abdomen. Purple gold dragon blood suddenly spurted out. The Crocodile Emperor looked down in surprise and saw a thumb-sized bloody hole in Qin Feiyong's lower abdomen. It hurriedly looked behind Qin Feiyong, but it didn't see anything. "Boss, what's that?" it asked in surprise. "I didn't see anything either. I only felt something very soft going through my lower abdomen." Qin Feiyong shook his head. With his lower abdomen penetrated, his sea of qi was naturally destroyed and his cultivation was lost. He quickly took out a spirit sea elixir and popped it into his mouth. Then, he carefully stared at the forest in front of him. The Crocodile Emperor glanced behind, its eyes shining. However, as time passed, the sense of crisis did not appear again. However, Qin Feiyong's lips showed signs of turning black. Moreover, the wound on his lower abdomen was also burning with pain. The Crocodile Emperor said, "This seems to be a sign of poisoning." "It's poisoning." Qin Feiyong nodded, took out an antidote and popped it into his mouth. "What the hell is this?" The Crocodile Emperor frowned as if it remembered something. "Boss, I suddenly thought of 2 guys who might know where this place is." "Who?" Qin Feiyong asked. "The Golden Wolf King and the Silver Wolf King. These 2 guys often go to other places to search for treasures. And this place is only about 10 days away from Bone Canyon. I think they might have been here before." The Crocodile Emperor explained. Qin Feiyong pondered for a while. With a thought, the Golden Wolf King suddenly appeared beside him. The Crocodile Emperor said, "Wolf Pup, look here. Have they been here before?" The Golden Wolf King looked up and scanned the forest. Immediately, it changed its expression. "What's wrong?" Qin Feiyong and the Crocodile Emperor were shocked. They all knew the Golden Wolf King's temperament. He was not afraid of anything, but now, he was showing such a look. Could it be that they had accidentally entered a forbidden area? The Golden Wolf King swallowed and said in a low voice, "Listen to me. Leave this place immediately." Qin Feiyong and the Crocodile Emperor looked at each other and were even more shocked, because they saw fear in the eyes of the Golden Wolf King. "What is this place?" the Crocodile Emperor asked. The Golden Wolf King said, "This is the territory of the spirit snakes." "Spirit snakes?" Qin Feiyong was stunned. "That's right." The Golden Wolf King nodded. Qin Feiyong was stunned. "So, it was the spirit snakes that attacked me earlier?" The Golden Wolf King looked at the wound on Qin Feiyong's lower abdomen and nodded. "It must be them. Once these guys hide, we can't see them at all. So it's these guys. No wonder there isn't even a flying insect in this forest." The Crocodile Emperor suddenly realized. Immediately, it scanned the forest, its eyes full of disdain. The talent of the spirit snakes is to change the color of their skin. In terms of strength, it's nothing. As long as we take precautions, we don't have to be afraid of them. "Wrong," the Golden Wolf King said. "What's wrong?" The Crocodile Emperor was suspicious. "Not only is it wrong, it's very wrong. Do you know how my brother and I managed to leave alive when we barged in?" The Golden Wolf King said. "Tell me about it." The Crocodile Emperor said with a tone of disapproval. "We begged and begged. My brother and I begged for 2 days and 2 nights before the Emperor let us leave." The Golden Wolf King said. "It's very strong?" The Crocodile Emperor was surprised. "Very strong. Even if all of us and all the beasts worked together, we wouldn't be its opponent. Because it's a pseudo-god." The Golden Wolf King enunciated each word with a solemn tone. "What? Pseudo-god?" Not to mention the Crocodile Emperor. Even Qin Feiyong couldn't stay calm. It was a pseudo-god. That was too scary. It stepped into the pseudo-god realm 5 years ago. Its strength is extremely terrifying. It also has a divine artifact and even mastered a divine art. The Golden Wolf King said in a deep voice, "Divine artifact, divine art." Qin Feiyong's gaze trembled. He decisively took the Crocodile Emperor and retreated far away. The Golden Wolf King also chased after them. He looked at the Crocodile Emperor mockingly and said, "Now you still dare to say that we don't have to be afraid of them?" The Crocodile Emperor smiled and looked at Qin Feiyong, saying, "Boss, a strong dragon can't beat a snake in its own territory. I think we should take a detour." Qin Feiyong looked into the depths of the forest. His eyes flickered. The Golden Wolf King raised his eyebrows and looked at Qin Feiyong, saying, "My suggestion is to take a detour, but it's up to you to decide." Actually, it was extremely nervous at this moment. It was afraid that Qin Feiyong would make a decision and enter this terrifying area. The Crocodile Emperor also looked at Qin Feiyong, feeling extremely nervous. If the Emperor here was only at the peak of the 9-star combat Emperor realm, they could still try their luck. But against a pseudo-god, with their strength, it was like sending sheep to the tiger's mouth. After a long time, Qin Feiyong finally retracted his gaze and turned to look at the Golden Wolf King, asking, "The Emperor you mentioned, is it also a phantom snake?" "Yes." The Golden Wolf King nodded. Qin Feiyong said, "Do you think that if I let the phantom snake Emperor go in and talk to the Emperor, it will let us pass through here?" The Crocodile Emperor and the Golden Wolf King shook their heads anxiously. "Boss, don't be rash. Although the Phantom Snake Emperor is the same as them, it's still from the outside world like you. It's like you humans. You're living well as a family, but suddenly a stranger comes in. You won't be able to blend in." The Crocodile Emperor quickly said, "The most important thing is that the Phantom Snake Emperor's cultivation isn't strong. The Emperor here won't take it seriously." The Golden Wolf King added, "That makes sense." Qin Feiyong nodded. He pondered for a while and said, "Let me confirm the Phantom Queen's location first." You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.